Exciting things that happen in this city, in this state of ours, and that, of course, would be Orioles baseball. Well, one of the most exciting guys in the American League is ready to lead off with the opener. He is hitting .302, put on quite a show on the base paths last night. I'm referring to left fielder Ricky Henderson, and with pleasure now we turn you over to Tom Barr.
Thank you, Chuck, and good evening, everyone. Ricky was 0 for 3 last night, but as Chuck said, that first pitch to him is high for a ball one. As Chuck said, he did put on a show on the base path, 3 stolen bases. The second time this year that he has stolen 3 bases in one game. And he had quite a night on the outfield. Next pitch to Henderson, now he fouls it off to the right side. Comes into the game tonight, batting .302 with 8 home runs and 44 RBI. And this fellow likes to walk. He has 94 walks on the year. That ties him with Mike Hargrove of the Cleveland Indians. And 69 stolen bases. What a find. Ricky Henderson. He'll be followed by Dwayne Murphy. The next pitch to Henderson, line drive, left field, base hit. So Henderson is on again. You'll see a great battle trying to nail that Henderson as he'll steal a base on you at any chance he can.
Number 21.
Here comes Dwayne Murphy, part of the 1-2 punch or the slam bang punch that the Oakland A's will throw at you. Murphy had a good night last night. He was 2 for 3 with a home run. On the year, he bats against the Orioles at a .361 clip. The Oakland A's had lost 7 games in a row coming into last night's game. They're just too good of a team to lose that many, and they were due to break out of the slump. The look to Henderson, the pitch to Murphy, and it's a ball one. 1 ball and no strikes to count to Dwayne Murphy, who is the captain of Billy Martin's ball club. They say that Dwayne Murphy is a very level-headed young man and has his life going in the right direction. Has his work cut out behind the plate, of course, with Henderson at first base. Just an easy toss from McGregor to Eddie Murray at first, and another one right away. Scotty's just reminding Ricky Henderson, I'm here. The runner goes. Here's the 1-ball pitch. It's high. The throw to second, and Henderson is in there with another stolen base. And they're going to beef a little about it. Here comes Earl Weaver. The throw for Graham on the pitch that was high, a ball 2, hit on the ground just before it got to Garcia, and it looked as if Garcia was putting on the tag as Henderson slid into the bag, but the second base umpire, Brinkman, had a better view of it, frankly, than I did up here. It was a mighty close play, and Brinkman didn't waste any time getting the safe sign, Chuck.
Well, as you looked at the replay, the ball was in the glove. The glove was down as Henderson slid into it. Now, if he was able to reach ahead with a hand and tag the bag, it was, hard for us to see in the camera angle, and that could have happened. But the umpire out there, Joe Brinkman, got a beef from Garcia. But what was more meaningful to me, he got a solid beef from Rich Dower, who doesn't beef unless he's got one coming.
Well, for Henderson, that's his 70th stolen base on the year. That was a close one. The count goes to 2-0 against Dwayne Murphy. Just a reminder, if the situation warrants, after our broadcast tonight in the post-game show, we'll be bringing you the California-New York game. Henderson now takes the lead off of second base. Here's the 2-ball delivery to Murphy. He punts up the right side. The ball is not touched by anybody. It's not touched by anybody. Henderson flies into third, and Dwayne Murphy bunts his way on. I'll tell you, McGregor came charging off the mound for it. It got by him. Dower came running in. Murray went over, and the 3 of them looked at it stop. So the California Angels have runners on first and third. Credit Murphy with the hit on that.
That's proof again of the fact that statement that we've made a couple of times that you also have offered, Tom. Murphy might be one of the best bunters in the league.
Here's the first pitch to the next batter. Essian was 2 for 5 last night. And it's a ball. 1 ball and no strikes to count. And I'll tell you, you got speed on the base paths right now. The throw to first, and Murphy is back. The Oakland A's have stolen 133 bases this year, largely on account of Henderson. The next pitch to Essian's outside. 2 balls, no strikes to count. Murphy has 22 stolen bases. Essian is a .249 batter with 4 home runs and 22 RBIs. Nobody out. Runners at first and third. Here's the pitch to Essian. Swing and a miss. 2 balls and 1 strike to count. In the on-deck circle, a dangerous hitter, Tony Armas. Henderson will move slowly down the line at third. The throw to first, and Murphy is back. The Orioles coming into this game tonight, 2.5 games behind the Yankees, 2 games down on the loss column. 2-1 pitch is on the way, and it's fouled back onto the screen. In 3 games in New York, the Oakland A's could only muster 4 runs on 15 hits. Last night, they matched the 15 hits in 1 game and scored 7 runs against the Orioles to win it 7-1. 2-2 the count to the batter, Jim Essian. McGregor works again, and that pitch is outside, so the count goes full. Renicky in left field for the Orioles tonight plays straight away. Bumbry shaded just to the left field side and center. Singleton in right field. The throw to first, and again Murphy is back. DeCense at third, Garcia's at short, Dowers at second. And Eddie Murray's at first, Graham behind the plate. Here comes the 3-2 delivery, and it's fouled back near the booth. So we'll do it again. The second in a 4-game series between the 2 teams. They'll play again tomorrow night and Sunday afternoon before the Orioles hit the road to go to Detroit. 3-2 pitch, and it's fouled off to the right side as Jim Essian continues to hang tough against Scott McGregor. Scotty's going to have to come off the ropes here in the first inning. Scott Stad has been here throughout this entire homestand and has got to see his son pitch a couple of times. Boy, you talk about a proud father. Again, the throw to first, and Murphy is back. Henderson down the line at third. Here's the pitch. The runner goes. Essian pops it up. Behind the plate, Graham is coming back toward the screen, and he's not going to have a play as it falls onto the screen. Murphy was going on the pitch. Scott's record is 16-7. His earned run average, 3.02. He's making his 29th start tonight. He lost to the Oakland A's in Oakland on June the 10th, 7-4. He went 4 1/3 innings against the A's that night, giving up 6 runs. Not one of his better performances. Here's a 3-2 delivery again as Murphy goes, and he walked him. So the sacks are loaded. Then he came back against the Oakland A's here in Baltimore. Ray Miller is going out now to have a few words with Scott McGregor. Bases loaded, nobody out. He beat Oakland here June the 19th, 4-3. A complete game for Scott McGregor. That was the game that John Lowenstein put on a fantastic show. He ran into the wall out in right field, and then they carried him off on a stretcher. And just as he got to the dugout, he came up off the stretcher and raised both hands, and the place went into a frenzy. Well, that's Scott McGregor's victory over the Oakland A's this year. His last outing was against California. He shut them out last Sunday here at the stadium. But he's got his hands full right now.
Fielder, number 11, Tony Armas.
Tony Armas, the batter. He is 2 for 10 off of McGregor with a home run. Bases loaded. Nobody out. McGregor to Armas. Here's the first pitch. A ground ball down to Eddie Murray at first. Eddie Murray will let the run score. Step on the bag at first. It's 1-0 Oakland. Armas is out. The runners advance. The runners home. 1-0 Oakland. Eddie looked momentarily as if he was going to try to cut off Ricky Henderson at the plate. He decided not to, of course, with the speed of Henderson. Then went and touched the bag at first. So there's a run home. 1-0 Oakland, and 1 out. As Armas is retired by Eddie Murray at first base, and Newman is the batter. run on 2 hits for the Oakland A's here in the first inning. Dan Graham had some equipment problems. He went over to the dugout and straightened them out. And we see Dave Ford is now up and warming in the Oriole bullpen. Runners at second and third, 1-0 Oakland. Newman was 2 for 5 last night. On the year, he hits .233 with 13 home runs and 43 RBIs. Here's the pitch to Jeff Newman, and he fouls it back onto the screen. Henderson started the inning with a base hit to left. He stole the 70th base. Murphy then reached out of infield on a bunt as Henderson went to third. Essien walked, and Armas grounded out. The run scored from third. Here's a one-strike delivery. Swing and a miss on off-speed stuff from Scott McGregor. So the advantage will go to McGregor with 2 strikes to count to the batter Newman. First base is open. Mike Heath is in the on-deck circle. Heath would like to play against the Orioles every night. He's faced them 16 times this year and has come up with 10 hits. Look to second. Here's a 2-strike delivery. It's fouled back onto the screen. Now, as soon as we get scores from the Seattle-Boston game and the California-Yankee game, we'll be passing them along to you. Two-strike pitch is all the way to Jeff Newman. Swing and a miss. As Scotty came in with a little heat. And Newman goes down on strikes. So there are 2 outs, and the batter is Mike Heath. He was 2 for 2 last night, the designated hitter.
Mike Heath.
Heath is .625 batter against the Orioles on the year, .229 against the league. I'll tell you, if McGregor can get out of this giving up only 1 run with the bases loaded and nobody out at one point, then he's doing something. He's a right-handed batter. The pitch, it's a ball. 1 ball and no strikes to call. Scott McGregor has completed 6 of his last 7 games. And he bluffs the throw to try to get Murphy at third, and Dwayne hurries back to the bag. Runners at second and third. 1 ball to count to the batter. Dave McKay is on deck. Here's the 1-ball pitch. Line drive, right field, base hit. Here comes Murphy home. The next run will score. The throw, and it's cut off by Murray, and they got the batter. He's hung up between first and second. Garcia now chases him back to first, and Garcia will put the tag on. The Orioles are out of the inning. But not before the Oakland A's pick up another 2 runs, and at the end of 1/2 inning of play, the score is Oakland 3 and Baltimore 0.
One afternoon game in Major League Baseball on Friday at Chicago. Dave Collins hit a run-scoring single in the 6th inning to break a 3-3 tie. And Tom Seaver struck out 10 to lead Cincinnati to a 5-3 victory over the Cubs. Johnny Bench hit his 22nd home run of the year in the 8th for Cincinnati. And Dave Concepcion stroked 4 hits as the Reds came through and knocked off the Cubs to their 14th loss in their last 16 games. So things are going mighty tough for the Cubs. At one point, just a couple of weeks ago, scored something like just 3 runs in some 49 innings of baseball. And that's no small reason why the Cubs are dead last in the National League East at 51 wins and now 81 losses, 30 games below 500. Manager George Bamberger of the Milwaukee Brewers will retire after Sunday's game with the Texas Rangers and will be succeeded by Buck Rogers, who filled in for him early in the season after Bamberger's heart attack. Bamberger, who will become assistant general manager, was to announce the retirement, a decision he said he would make before the season's end at a Friday afternoon news conference. Rogers, the third base coach, was to take over on an interim basis. The Milwaukee Journal, in its late edition Friday, said Bamberger has not been feeling well of late, and while it's nothing serious, it was enough for the Brewer management to react. Brewers had fallen into 5th place, 11.5 games behind New York in the American League East. Some had predicted in the preseason that they might just win the pennant.
Well, Well, it's a 3-0 Oakland lead as the A's come up with 3 runs on 3 hits in the first inning. Mike Heath was caught up between first and second as Murphy and Essian scored on his base hit to right field. He's now 11 for 17 against the Orioles on the year. The pitcher, Mike Norris, and his record is 18-8. His earned run average, 2.34, second only to Larry Gura. Here's Frank Robinson on what makes Norris such a tough pitcher.
Mike Norris is the type of pitcher, Tom, that our Steve Stone is. He's an off-speed type pitcher, mixed in with a good fastball. He's able to throw any one of his pitches over at any time, and he keeps the hitters off balance. And you can't sit there and wait on the fastball or the breaking ball because he'll throw anyone. And he's really an off-speed type pitcher. He mixes up his speeds of his curveball and his breaking ball at all times.
And he certainly has given the Orioles some problems. He went the distance against the Orioles earlier this year in Oakland. He went 14 innings, giving up 12 hits and won 6-2 as Tony Armas hit a grand slam home run in the 14th inning. In 230 innings pitched, he has only given up 11 home runs. The leadoff batter is Bumbry. Here's the pitch to Al as a ground ball to the right side. Scooped up by Edwards at second to throw to first in time, and Bumbry is a quick out. He's second in innings pitched to Larry Gura. Coming into the game tonight, he has 150 strikeouts.
The second baseman, number 25.
That is second to Barker of the Cleveland Indians. He's just having an all-around great year. He's second in complete games with 19. The next batter is Dower. Here's the first pitch to Dower. Ground ball to the left side. It'll be picked up by Piccolo at short. The throw to first in time, and 2 quick outs. And I'll tell you something else about Mr. Norris. He does not waste any time. Ken Singleton, the batter. Singleton last night, 1 for 4. In fact, the first 4 batters in the lineup, Bumbry, Dower, Singleton, and Murray, all 1 for 4 in the Orioles' losing effort last night. Singleton comes into the game tonight, a .289 average, 20 home runs, and 80 RBIs. He'll be batting left-handed against Mike Norris. Eddie Murray's on deck. Norris is ready to work. The pitch to Singleton, a fastball is low, 1 ball and no strikes to call. McKay is at third base tonight for the Oakland A's. Ron Piccolo at short. Mike Edwards is at second. Jeff Newman is at first. Jim Essian behind the plate. Norris on the hill. Here's the 1-ball delivery, and a breaking pitch is low. 2 balls, no strikes to count for Singleton. In the outfield, Ricky Henderson at left. Murphy is in center field, and Tony Armas is in right. Next pitch to Singleton, and he fouls it into the box. 2 balls, 1 strike to count with 2 outs. The Oakland A's have a great outfield with Armas in right, Murphy in center, and Henderson in left. A great deal of speed. When need be, they can protect the lines and at the same time close the gap in a big hurry. 2 of them on the count to Ken Singleton. 3-0. The A's lead it. Norris is back again. Here's the pitch to Singleton, and he gets a piece of it as it goes through the catcher Essian and the umpire, and the ball was retrieved by Ernie Tyler. 2 balls and 2 strikes to count. Henderson is way off the line at left field, and Murphy is shaded just to the left field side. And Armas plays well off the line at right field against Ken Singleton. Norris works again. The 2-2 delivery right back to Norris off his arm. It goes out to the second baseman, Edwards. He's up with it, throw to first in time. And the Orioles are retired. 1-2-3 in the first inning at the end of 1. Oakland 3, Baltimore nothing.
Chris Everett Lloyd playing what she called the most emotional match of her career, overwhelmed defending champion Tracy Austin Friday to move into the finals of the U.S. Open Tennis Championship against Anna Mandlikova, who needed a tiebreak to defeat Andrea Jaeger. After dropping the first 4 games and seemingly headed for her 6th consecutive defeat to Austin, the highly charged Everett won 16 of the last 20 games for a 4-6, 6-1, 6-1 victory. It was the 41st victory in 42 matches for Everett since beginning her comeback in May, and this marks the 6th year in a row she has gained the Open final. Mandlikova, the 9th seed from Czechoslovakia, followed with a 6-1, 3-6, 7-6 rain-delayed victory over Jaeger, who at 15 years and 3 months is the youngest person ever to reach the semifinals. Jaeger, displaying incredible poise, overcame early jitters, then staved off 2 match points in the 10th game of the final set before the 18-year-old Mandlikova won the tiebreak 7-4. So, it'll be Chris Everett Lloyd taking on Hannah Mandlikova for the championship for the Women's U.S. Open title. Cale Yarbrough has captured the pole position for Sunday's Capital City 400 stock car race in Richmond. That's the 11th time this year that Yarbrough has started from the number 1 spot in the NASCAR race. Yarbrough's average speed, nearly 93.5 miles an hour, just a bit faster than Bobby Allison.
Well, Seattle and Boston have completed their first inning at Fenway without a run being scored. Bannister against John Tudor up there. And nothing to report on the Yankees other than the fact that it will be Ralph Bonning from California tonight and Keon for the Yankees. All right, Tom.
Here's McGregor's first pitch to McKay, and it's a ball 1. 1 ball and no strikes to call. McKay was 2 for 4 last night. On the year, he's hitting .234. McGregor right back with the next pitch, swing and a miss. 1 ball and 1 strike to call. Will be followed by Edwards and Picholo. Ram flashes the sign. Scott goes to work again. The 1-1 delivery is change-up. 2 balls and 1 strike to call. 3 runs for the Oakland A's in the first inning on 3 hits. They lead it 3-zip. McGregor's 2-1 delivery. Swing and a miss. He got a piece of it. 2 balls, 2 strikes to call. McGregor walking a batter in the first inning. One of the better control pitchers in the league. He was the best last year. He walked 20 batters in his first 57 2/3 innings this year and has only surrendered 24 walks in his next 143 frames. 2 balls and 2 strikes, and the pitch is on the way. Here it is. Swing out of it. Second strikeout. Newman in the first inning and McKay here in the second.
Batting 8, the second baseman, number 7, Mike Edwards.
Mike Edwards to face Scott McGregor with 1 down and nobody on. Edwards is batting .241. The on-deck batter is Picholo. McGregor's fastball, 1 ball and no strikes to call. Pitch is on the way to Edwards. Fly ball center field. Should be no problem for Bunbury. Drifts under it, puts the glove up and makes the catch. Let's pause for station identification. This is the Orioles Baseball Network.
This is the American Forces Radio and Television Service.
This inning so far for McGregor, just the opposite of last inning. He has retired the first 2 batters he's faced. McKay on strikes and Edwards on a fly ball to center field. The batter is Picholo, and the pitch to Rob is a call strike. The first 3 batters to face McGregor in the first inning all got on base and scored. Next pitch to Picholo, and he fouls it off to the right side. Picholo was 1 for 4 last night. He's a .244 hitter on the year. 2 home runs and 11 RBIs. And Ricky Henderson is on deck. 2 strikes. McGregor's next pitch. Swing and a miss. Strike 3. So 1-2-3 inning for the Oakland A's. At the end of an inning and a half, the score is Oakland 3, Baltimore nothing.
The long-awaited decision on who will be the Los Angeles Rams starting quarterback has been made. Veteran Pat Hayden winning out over Super Bowl starter Vince Ferragamo for the number 1 spot. Hayden will call signal Sunday when the Rams open the regular season against Detroit. Miami Dolphins coach Don Shula met with owner Joe Robbie Friday. The subject, a new contract. And while neither man is saying much, it's believed Shula will come to terms with the Dolphins and end talk that he's heading elsewhere. The Yacht Australia will be the foreign challenger for the America's Cup. It won that distinction by beating France 3 to take the best-of-7 tournament finals 4-1. The U.S. Yacht Freedom will defend the Cup when the America's Cup Series gets underway off Newport, Rhode Island on September 16th. Olympic 100-meter dash champion Alan Wells won the British national title Friday in London. Wells was clocked in 10.36 seconds. In the mile run, world record holder Steve Ovett won the race with a time well over 4 minutes. American Lon Hinkle has the lead after 2 rounds of the European Open Golf Championship in Walton Heath, England. Hinkle has a 2-round total of 134. That's 12 under par, and his nearest rival is Tom Kite, and he is 4 strokes back. One final score from afternoon Major League Baseball at Wrigley Field. Cincinnati 5, Chicago 3. Tom Seaver, the winner. His record 7-7. Rick Russell, the loser. He's 11-10. 2 run. Johnny Bench hit his 22nd for Cincinnati. Martin hit his 21st for Chicago.
Well, the second annual Tavern Night is going to be held here at Memorial Stadium. The date is Wednesday, September the 24th, when the Orioles host the Boston Red Sox. Complete details on how to enter can be found in the September issue of the Maryland, Washington, Delaware Beverage Journal. Get your tavern to enter today. Well, 3-0. Nielsen A's. They broke on top of Scotty McGregor of the Birds in the first inning, and it's catch-up baseball for the Orioles against one of the toughest in the league, Mike Norris. All right, sir.
Eddie Murray will lead it off against Mike Norris. Eddie comes into the game tonight with a .291 average. Leads the club in home runs with 23 and RBIs with 84. One of Eddie's 23 home runs off of Mike Norris in the Orioles' 6-2 loss in 14 innings at Oakland earlier this year. 3 of his 23 home runs against Oakland pitching this year. The pitch to Eddie Murray, an off-speed pitch, is high. 1 ball and no strikes to count. Norris's first full year in the bigs was last year. He was 5-8. We mentioned that he has 19 complete games in 28 starts. Well, prior to this year, in 87 games in the big league, he had only 7 complete games. The 1-ball delivery of fastball is a called strike. 1 ball and 1 strike to count. Mike was born in San Francisco and now lives in Oakland, California. Was quite a high school athlete. Murray, check swing foul ball. 1 ball and 2 strikes to count. He made his major league debut in April of 1975 and tossed a 3-hit shutout over the Chicago White Sox. And that year he had to undergo surgery to have calcium deposits taken out of his elbow. Pitch to Murray. It's low and bounces away from Epstein. Lost his last outing to the Boston Red Sox 5-1 last Sunday. In fact, if it were not for the Red Sox, Norris's earned run average would be under 2. As it stands now, it's a sparkling 2.34. 2-2 pitch to Eddie Murray, and he fouls it into the box. His last win was in Oakland on August the 25th. He defeated the Yankees 9-1. The only run in that game came on a Watson home run in the 8th inning. As we said earlier, he's completed 13 of his last 16 games. In fact, this club set a new American League record this year with 76 complete games. The Major League record is 77. Here's the 2-2 delivery to Murray. High drive foul down the right field line. Should Norris complete tonight's game, the Oakland A's will have tied the 68 Giants with 77 complete games. The staff also leads the American League in ERA 3.43. 2-2 delivery on the way to Eddie Murray. A ground ball right back to Norris. He'll scoop it up and just slip it underhanded to Newman, and Murray goes down for the first out on 3. Norris is a very good fielder. He'll be in the running for the Golden Glove Award among the pitchers, and Earl Weaver contends that if he did not make it to the big leagues as a pitcher, he would have had a good chance to make it as an outfielder. And Earl Weaver would say that he has the potential in the outfield of being in the Paul Blair category. Now that says something for Mike Norris, a gifted athlete. Kelly, the batter, the Orioles' designated hitter, did not play last night. He's a .248 hitter. 2 home runs this year with 17 RBIs. 1 out, nobody on. The off-speed pitch to Kelly is high. Norris back again, and a fastball is low as Kelly held up his swinging time. No, he did not. 1 ball and 1 strike now the count. Kelly did not check his swinging time. Coming into this season, now Pat Kelly steps up. Norris had a lifetime record of 12 wins and 25 losses this year alone, 18-8. Big turnaround for Mike Norris. You can say the same thing about the Orioles' Steve Stone. Now, a couple of the Oriole batters tonight have kind of stepped out on Norris. They might be trying to slow his rhythm somewhat. 1 ball, 1 strike to count to Kelly with 1 out and nobody on. Graham is on deck. Estian gives the sign to Mike Norris. Here's the pitch to Kelly. And it's a ball. 2 balls, 1 strike to count. Norris is a little unhappy with the call. I'll tell you one thing. One of Mike's superstitions must be about his hat. Because the hat he has on tonight looks like the one he made first to put on when he became a member of the Oakland A's. It's got some mileage on it. 2-1 delivered to Kelly. Swing at a miss. 2 balls and 2 strikes to count. They play Kelly to pull the ball to right field. 3-0 Oakland. Bottom of the 2nd inning. Norris to Kelly on the 2-2 pitch. Swing and a miss, strike 3, and Kelly goes down on strikes. The first strikeout of the night for Norris. That'll bring up Dan Graham, who was 0 for 4 last night. Well, let's see if Dan Graham can figure out Mr. Norris. Dan comes into the game tonight batting .267 with 39 RBIs and 10 home runs. DeCente now the on-deck batter with 2 outs and nobody on. Norris down the hill with his first pitch to Dan Graham. And it's a call strike as it hits the outer portion of the plate. They play Graham to pull that ball to right as well. Norris's next delivery, a breaking pitch, is fouled over into the open dugout. Well, a spectator reaches out and grabs it on the first bounce. Fairly good crowd for Friday night against the Oakland A's. That game up at Yankee Stadium between the Yankees and the California Angels is just getting underway. 2 strikes, the count to Graham. The advantage now is to the pitcher, Norris. Here's the pitch. It's high all the way. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Norris's 1-2 delivery sails outside, so the count was 2 strikes, and now it has gone to 2-2 with 2 outs. Seattle coming up with 4 runs in the 2nd inning at Fenway Park at the end of an inning and a half. 4-0. Seattle over the Boston Red Sox. The 2-2 pitch to Dan Graham. It's ball 3. This is something that a pitcher just hates to do. He's got 2 outs and nobody on, getting ready to go over and take a rest with 2 strikes on the count to the batter, and throws 3 straight balls. Dan Graham now steps off on Mike Norris. 3-2 delivery. Swing at a miss. Dan Graham is out, as are the Orioles at the end of 2. Oakland 3, Baltimore 0.
The brilliant Purdue quarterback, Mark Herman, plans on playing against Notre Dame Saturday despite a jammed thumb, which was bothering him since Tuesday when he injured it in practice. Mark hurt the thumb when he banged it against the helmet of another player in a practice drill. He has not gripped a football since Tuesday, but says the thumb is responding to treatment, and he thinks he will start. No decision will be made, however, until just before the opening kickoff in South Bend. The spokesman for Purdue says Herman is now better than doubtful for the game, and the backup quarterback, freshman Scott Campbell, says he's ready to go if necessary. You'll find out just who will start that game at quarterback, because that game will be broadcast over many of these same AFRTS stations Saturday. Check with your local station for the starting time in your area. And while we're on the subject of the schedule, on Sunday, the National Football League opens its 1980 season. The Houston Oilers at the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Denver Broncos at the Philadelphia Eagles. You'll hear those games over many of these same stations, as is the case for the game, the Monday night game between the Dallas Cowboys and the Washington Redskins. And the scheduled airtime for that game is 0100 UTC on Tuesday. In addition, there will be a number of Major League Baseball games on that schedule also. The National Hockey League Players Association will present its ideas on overtime games this season to the League Board of Governors in Toronto on Tuesday. The board already has voted a 5-minute overtime period to break ties, but the Players Union says it should have been consulted first.
Well, the Orioles and the Oakland A's continue tomorrow night here at 7:30. Tomorrow night, Rick Langford. He's won 14 and lost 11 against Baltimore's Jim Palmer. Palmer tomorrow night will be looking for his 16th win. Palmer is 15-9 on the year. Then in the finale, the final of the 4-game series, Sunday afternoon, Steve McCatty is going to go for the Oakland A's. And for the Orioles, it'll be Steve Stone, who will try to improve upon a 22-5 record. What an absolutely stunning year for Stone. I hope a lot of you folks can make it Sunday afternoon. All right, Tom.
Ricky Henderson is up again. He singled his first time up and scored and stole a base. There's 70 stolen bases all the year. Off-speed stuff from McGregor. 1 ball and no strikes to count. What a year Henderson is having. The 1-ball delivery, a fastball is low. 2-0 to count to Henderson. His 2 walks last night brought his total on the year to 94. Singleton leads the Orioles in walks with 74. Here's the 2-0 delivery, high ball 3. Now, McGregor is a very good control pitcher, but he is working very carefully to Ricky Henderson, who would tell you in a second he'd just as soon have a walk as a hit. And now he's got one as the next pitch is low. So he's on again, folks. Let's see if he tries to go again. Chances are he will with nobody out. And the other half of the dynamic Oakland duo coming to the plate. Wayne Murphy. He punted his way on in the first inning and later scored. Murphy comes into the game hitting .361 this year against the Orioles. And he's an even .500 hitter off of Scott McGregor, 5 for 10. They play Murphy to pull the ball to right field. Henderson with his lead at first base. McGregor looks in to get the sign from Graham. Now he'll look to Henderson. Back to Graham. Now he breaks contact with the rubber, and Murphy steps out of the batter's box. Murphy will be followed by Jim Essien. 3-0, the Oakland A's lead it. A long look to the crouching Henderson with his lead at first base. And again, Murphy steps out. The pitch. And it's a ball. 1 ball and no strikes to count. You wonder how this team could have lost 7 in a row when they have such a good pitching staff and guys to throw at you like Murphy, Henderson, and Tony Armas. The throw to first, and Henderson is back. Earl Weaver, before the series started with Seattle, California, and Oakland, said the one that worries me, the series with the Oakland A's. Again, just an easy toss over to Henderson, who was able to walk back to the bag that time. McGregor's pitch, they pop him up to the left side. The sensei takes a few steps over near the coach's box and makes the catch just beyond it. So Murphy is out, popping up to the sensei in foul territory just off third base. Jim Essien. Now Wallace, the first base coach for the Oakland A's is having a chat with the first base umpire, Marty Springstead, and I know they don't like McGregor's move to first base, and they feel that he's committed a ball. Essie in the batter. He walked against McGregor his first time up and later scored. The pitch, and it's a called strike. Breaking pitch hit at the knees. One on, one up. One strike to count to the batter. So look to Rickey at first base. A long stare by McGregor, and now Estienne says, well, I'm going to step out. I've had enough of this. Chuck?
Estienne, I don't know. He may have hurt his own club a little bit calling time as he did because Henderson had a pretty good jump. He was gone again. And we haven't seen how it looks to throw him out yet.
Here's the one strike pitch, and it's low for a ball. 1 ball and 1 strike to count. McGregor here this year is 9-3. The way Henderson gets into that crouch at first base, you wonder how he can break out of it to get such a good jump and have such good speed. Now again, he'll just get off first. Here's the pitch to Estienne. There's a drive well hit out to left field, and it's charged by Renicky, and he makes the catch at the last minute. Renicky coming over into the gap in left center field to catch a line drive off the bat of Estienne. We were talking with some of the Orioles before the game today. There is kind of a Bermuda Triangle here at Memorial Stadium. Not actually at this time of night, but just in the twilight hours with the lights. Some balls can be hit into the air here or line drives, and you just totally lose sight of them. John Lowenstein, you may have mentioned, he mentioned it in the paper today, and the outfielder kind of looks kind of silly, but you lose the ball, and it's about a 10 or 15-minute period just before it gets dark. 2 outs, a runner at first, Henderson, and the pitch to Armas. The fastball is low. 1 ball and no strikes to count. Jeff Newman is the on-deck batter. Pitch to Armas, line drive, center field. It's going to fall in for the base hit. Henderson rounds second, and he'll go into third easily. So Tony Armas singles to center field. And Henderson goes all the way to third.
First baseman,
Jeff Newman. Well, there's some good news out of New York. Rick Miller has homered in the first inning, a solo home run, only his second on the year, and the California Angels lead the New York Yankees 1-0. Wonder how long that's going to last. Runners at first and third with 2 outs, and Newman the batter. Was out on strikes his first time up. McGregor's pitch. And did he check his swing in time? Well, the pitch is low. 1 ball and no strikes to call. Dave Ford again is warming in the Oriole bullpen. Armas the runner at first base, and Rickey Henderson's at third. 1 ball, the count to the batter, Jeff Newman. Pitch is fouled off over into the Oakland dugout. So the count goes to 1-1. The Oriole outfield plays Newman straight away. Henderson down the line at third. Armas is at first. They throw to third, and Henderson's back. One ball, 1 strike. Again, Henderson will take a fairly good lead at third base. Armas with a short lead at first. Here's the 1-1 delivery. Swing and a miss. 1 ball and 2 strikes. 2 out. 1-2 deliveries on the way. Ground ball to Garcia. Short, he'll throw to Dower covering for the fourth. That's it. At the end of 2.5 innings from Memorial Stadium, the score remains Oakland 3, Baltimore nothing.
Let's take a look at the upcoming sports schedule. Let you know it's coming on later on over many of the same AFR-TS stations. Beginning on...
Who will continue tomorrow night here at the stadium at 7:30. And tomorrow night it'll be Jim Palmer against Rick Langford. And then Sunday afternoon, Steve Stone against Steve McCaddy. The Oakland A's got off to a great start. They got a 3-run first inning. It started with a Henderson base hit and a steal at second base that brought on a rather lengthy discussion between Earl Weaver, Rich Sauer, Kiko Garcia, and umpire Joe Brinkman at second base. Then a bunt single by Murphy, a walk to load the bases. An infield out got 1 run in, and a single to right knocked in the other 2 in the first inning. All right, Tom.
Doug Sensei to lead off against Mike Norris as we go to the bottom of the 3rd inning. Norris last year here at Memorial Stadium in May handcuffed the Orioles. DeCense swing and a miss, 1 strike to count. He beat the Orioles 4-2, going the distance on a 2-hitter. Lifetime, Norris against the Orioles is 2-1. Norris to DeCense again, and it's 1 ball, 1 strike to count. There's an off-speed pitch is high. DeCense, a 236 hitter, 10 home runs, 48 RBIs. Norris back again. Fastball was not fouled to the left side, and it just about made its way into the box seat. Caromed over and will be picked up by the Orioles ball girl down the left field line. Renicky and Garcia will follow DeCense. 3 runs on 4 hits for Oakland. All Kusigs up there for the Orioles. Mike Norris's breaking pitch is swing and a miss. And DeCense is down on strikes. The 3rd strikeout of the game for Mike Norris.
Batting 8.
Gary Renicky, 1 for 3 last night.
Gary Renicky
comes into the game tonight batting .269 with 24 RBIs and 8 home runs. Norris to Renicky. Pitch is low. Just a reminder, you can see this exciting Oakland Ball Club here tomorrow night or Sunday afternoon. The pitch by Norris, low again, 2 balls and no strikes to count. And if you want to see Mike Norris in work with his 18-8 record, a kind of a unique pitcher, jump in the car and drive out now. You still have time to get here if you're close by, and there's plenty of seats. We got room for you. Here's the 2-0 delivery. Swing and a miss by Renicky. 2 balls and 1 strike to count. The Orioles will leave Sunday night. They'll open up a 7-game road trip, or 8 games, a doubleheader against Detroit on Monday. The pitch to Renicky is low, 3 balls and 1 strike. They will be in Detroit Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. 3-1 delivery, bouncing ground ball off to 3rd. McKay's up with it to throw to 1st in time, and Renicky is down 5-3. A doubleheader Monday in Detroit. That's single games on Tuesday and Wednesday. Then the Orioles will leave Thursday morning for a 4-game series, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday against the Toronto Blue Jays. They'll return home the 16th of this month. That's a Tuesday against the Tigers. Here's the pitch to Garcia, and it's low. 1 ball, no strikes to count to Kiko. Garcia 0 for 2 last night. Next delivery to Garcia, ground ball again up to McKay. Makes the pickup, goes to 1st in time. The Orioles are out again, 1-2-3 at the end of 3. Oakland 3, Baltimore nothing.
If you live in Southern California, you're probably sitting in your car right now in the afternoon rush hour cursing the smog. I'm Mary Margaret Myers. Car exhaust is a big contributor to the smog cloud that Los Angeles has been under for 2 days now. Children, the elderly, and people with breathing problems are being urged to stay inside. And weather officials say the smog will hang around till at least tomorrow. Defense Secretary Harold Brown held a Pentagon news conference today to defend his revelations about the so-called stealth program. At the same time, former military top brass, now advisors to Ronald Reagan, were declaring their outrage to reporters about what they called the abuse of the Defense Department for politics. Vice President Mondale says the Russians already knew the U.S. was working on a system to make planes invisible to radar, but says Mondale they didn't know how it was done, and he says they still don't know. The Polish news agency says Edward Gierek is out as leader of the Polish Communist Party. He's being replaced, they say, by Stanislaw Kania. I'm Mary Margaret Myers, ABC Contemporary Radio.
On the scoreboard, Seattle and Boston are in the bottom of the third at Fenway, and Seattle leading at 4-0. Bannister against Tudor. Chicago is leading Toronto 1-0 in the bottom of the fourth at Toronto. Hoyt against Clancy. Kansas City and Cleveland are through 4 at Cleveland, and the Indians are leading at 1-0. Now, as far as George Brett is concerned, he flied out to the left in the first time at bat, and that dropped his average to 400, but he's now just doubled to right field, and his batting average is back to 402. Pittsburgh and Atlanta in the National League. Atlanta leading it by the score of 2-0 after an inning and a half of play at Atlanta. Bibby against McWilliams. St. Louis is at Houston. We have nothing in on that ball game. Later on in the National League, New York is at San Diego. Falcone against Eichelberger. Philadelphia is at Los Angeles. Walk against Sutton. And Montreal is at San Francisco. Rogers against Montefusco. In the afternoon game in the National League, Cincinnati 5-3 over Chicago.
And here it's 3-0 Olsen, and back to Tom. First pitch to Heath, and he squares the bunt and misses. 1 strike to call. 220-plus hitter who is hitting 11 for 17 against the Orioles. 1 strike delivery. 1 ball, 1 strike now to count. To Mike Heath. He knocked home 2 runs for the Oakland A's in the first inning, but then got caught up between first and second. That was the final out of the inning. He'll be followed by McKay and Edwards. McGregor's pitch, ground ball out to Garcia at short. He's up with it. The throw to first in time, and Heath is out. McGregor giving up 3 runs on 3 hits in the first inning. Then he breezed through the Oakland A's in the second inning, putting them down 1-2-3. Ran into more difficulty in the third inning, giving up a walk and a base hit. Dave McKay out on strikes his first time up. The Oriole upfield against McKay is straight away. McGregor looks into Graham to get the side. Shakes him off again. Now it'll work. The first pitch to McKay, it's a called strike. Again, McGregor shakes off Graham. He gets the side he wants now. The 1 strike delivery, a fastball right back to McGregor on 1 bounce. The easy toss to first, and McKay is out. One thing about McKay and Mike Norris, they don't waste any time on the hill. Twice tonight, Dave Ford has been up and warming at the Oriole bullpen. Mike Edwards, the batter, he was out on a fly ball to shallow center field his first time up. Should he keep things alive for Oakland here in the 4th inning, we'll see Rob Piccolo. The A's have spotted their pitcher Norris, a 3-0 lead. McGregor to Edwards. The first pitch is low. 1 ball, no strikes to count. There is a slight wind blowing directly out to center field. The 1 ball delivery, foul ball down the right field line. Kind of a pleasant night for a ball game at Memorial Stadium, especially in the upper deck with that slight breeze blowing, and the humidity can't be too far up there tonight. Oriole nights, a lot of fun in 1980, and we hope that you'll be joining us tomorrow night here at the ballpark. Here's the 1-1 delivery, ground ball out to Garcia, takes it on the chest iron off at short. The throw to first in time. And the A's go down 1-2-3 at the end of 3.5. The score is Oakland 3, Baltimore nothing.
Australia waltzed past France Friday to win the right to be the Foreign America's Cup Challenge shot with a 4th victory in the best-of-7 elimination trials. The 12-meter yacht, named Australia, ended the series with a commanding quarter-of-a-mile victory over Baron Marshall Bitch's France 3. The Australian knot will meet the U.S. defender Freedom with Dennis Conner of San Diego, California at the helm in the best of 7 yachting spectacular, which will begin on September 16th. The two Ford yachts got almost even starts on Friday in 7 knots southwesterly wind, but after climbing the first 4.5-mile upwind leg, the tri-colored French yacht trailed by about 150 yards, or about 2 minutes and 11 seconds, at the weather mark. Australia, with seasoned skipper Jim Hardy at the wheel, marched past the French to become the first yacht in Cup history to win the Challenger's role twice. And kind of a tough break for Baron Marshall Vick, because he's been trying since 1967 or 68 to get in on the America's Cup Challenge, but each year he has been eliminated, and we understand that this is his last shot at it. The French won only one race over Australia, but it was a magnificent victory for the 66-year-old Vic ballpoint 10 tycoon, who previously was best remembered in Newport for sailing his yacht in the wrong direction and getting lost in fog. French skipper Bruno Trouble carved away an unbelievable 8-minute Australian lead Wednesday to win by more than a minute. But it's all over, and Australia is the foreign challenger.
Well, we waited just a little bit before we could go down to the fourth inning for the Orioles. We had to wait for Mike Norris, who perhaps went back in the clubhouse, changed his undershirt, and was a little late getting out. That was getting to be a little encouraging to some of the Oriole fans. They started to look hopefully toward the Oakland bullpen, but it's just not the case. This tough right-hander is right back ready to go. He's retired 9 in a row. He struck out 3. The Orioles have yet to hit a ball out of the infield against Mike Norris tonight, and of course are without benefit of a hit. The Oakland A's got their 3 runs in the very first inning. And with a guy like Mike Norris, those 3 runs get bigger and bigger and bigger. He just is an excellent pitcher, and like all good pitchers, he is an excellent competitor. California won, the Yankees nothing at the end of an inning of play. We are going to go through, over this month of September, a lot of ups and a lot of downs. And right now, trailing the Yankees by 2.5 games is a down period for Oriole fans, and they'd like to see something happen to change that. And Al Bunbury is going to see if he can help get something started. Well, the charge goes up at Memorial Stadium, and it will be up to Bunbury, Dower, and Singleton, the top of the order, to try to figure out Mike Norris. The breaking pitch is a called strike. Looked like it might have been a slider to Bunbury. Al grounded out to second his first time up. Breaking pitch, called strike 2 as Norris comes over the top of that pitch. And the word is that just about everyone on the Oakland staff will load up from time to time and throw the grease ball of the spitter. Pitch to Bunbury sails way outside. Chuck? That's the kind of propaganda any ball club enjoys. If they think they can get the other guy to think that the fellow out there on the mound is throwing a spitter or doctoring the ball, it's a plus for the pitcher. The more problems he presents the hitter with, the better his chances of success. Here's the 1-1 delivery to Bunbury. A little loop foul ball down the line and left, quite a ways down the line, I should say, down into the area of the tomato patch. You know, Chuck, speaking about bringing out that tomato to Billy Martin, 2 have gone out in the past 2 nights, gargantuan tomatoes. So I have a feeling that if we lose again tonight, that might be the last tomato Billy gets. Because Earl is pretty superstitious. He may blame it on the tomato. Well, I'll tell you what, you might just well, the way the ball club is playing right now, they're not doing as well as they can, that's for sure. Look out. 1-2 pitch, and it almost got a piece of Bunbury. 2 balls and 2 strikes to count. That was mighty close to Al Bunbury right there. As Norris came in, it almost got a piece of Bunbury. Al ducked just in time. Well, that was a whole lot too close. The pitch that 1-ball, 2-strike pitch that Mike Norris threw to Bunbury, and Bunbury down on his knees after the pitch went whizzing by to the screen, just knelt there and stared toward Norris just to say, fella, I'm not so sure that was accidental. Here's the 2-2 pitch. Hardly hit ground ball. Out to shortstop Picholo. Picks it up, throws the first in time, and Bunbury goes down. Well, only Mike Norris knows the answer to that. As Chuck was mentioning earlier, Chuck, Art Fowler is said to have taught all these guys how to throw it, but Gaylord Perry, Frank Robinson watched him the last time he was in town, said he only loaded up once, but the players are convinced he does it all the time, and Perry will tell you right away that's his psychological advantage.
It always has been, and, I don't know how an umpire can just say, look, you're guilty of throwing the spitball. I mean, he just can't look at the pitch and say that's exactly what it was, and he hasn't any proof. The ball isn't wet, it isn't scarred, it isn't treated with any foreign substance, and therefore there isn't any way you can prove these fellas do these things.
Here's the pitch to Dollar, and it's low for a ball.
The hitters will tell you, they just swear up and down that there are a lot of spitters being thrown.
One ball delivery, a chopper out to third. McKay gets it. He'll throw to first, and Dollar is safe at first base as McKay rifled the ball off a lot quicker than he had to, a la hot dog style, and Newman at first dropped it. So Dollar reaches on an error, a throwing error by McKay. Now, Singleton is the fellow who is totally convinced that the Oakland A's have been loading up on him. You'd never be able to convince him otherwise. In fact, he'll tell you the exact pitches that they came after him with the wet ball or the grease ball. Well, the Orioles finally have a runner on. He reaches by an error. Ken Singleton is the batter. The Oakland A's lead it by a score of 3-0. 3 runs on 4 hits for Oakland. Dower, the runner at first. Here's the pitch to Singleton. It's way outside. 1 ball and no strikes to call. Of course, some fellows on the other teams will tell you that a few of the Oriole hurlers might load up from time to time. Stone has been accused of that this year. Steve will look you right in the face and say never. Here's the pitch to Singleton, and it's a call strike. Chuck?
One of the thoughts I've heard expressed is that, if they do load up, what baseball ought to do is say, okay, it's legal. And then everybody can do it, and nobody will have any kind of an advantage.
1 ball and 1 strike to call. Dower's the runner at first. Pitch to Singleton. High fly ball to right center field. It could be, and it is a Ken Singleton home run. That one hit a ton to right center field. Here comes Dower. Singleton rounds the bag at third. Home run, Ken Singleton, 410. Number 21, and it's a 3-2 game. Singleton goes deep against Norris. And now we have a discussion at first base between Newman and Billy Martin and Marty Springstead, and frankly, I don't have any idea what they're talking about.
All I can think of is that on instructions from Martin, maybe Newman was requesting timeout and had gone to the mound, and apparently it was not acknowledged by the umpire on the scene over there, Springstead. Newman is by gesture indicating toward the plate, and it's awfully hard to read by gesture what the intent and the content of the conversation could be, but unless that's one of the guesses, and probably a bad one that I'm making now, that maybe Oakland had requested timeout before the pitch was thrown.
Well, it's an argument they're certainly not going to win.
I've seen it wipe out a home run before. I've seen umpires say, I had called time.
Can you imagine Earl Weaver if they'd have upheld Billy Martin? We'd have had a brouhaha that would have lasted till next week. Well, it's a 3-2 game as the Orioles have rattled Mike Norris's cage somewhat. Pitch to Murray, and he fouls one off over into the open dugout. Well, one thing we have here in this ballpark, we have Ernie Tyler. Now we're getting word on what happened. Well, Chuck was right. The argument was the time had been called. I'll tell you, you go into a lot of ballparks and you might wait forever to find out what happened. But the communication system here at this stadium is excellent. 1 out, nobody on. The Orioles have pulled to within 1. I can think of a number of parks where we'd be waiting quite a while to find out what happened. Can't you, Chuck?
Well, yeah, I can think of quite a few, Tom, where I'd be on my way down toward the press box, going through 17 doors.
And then asked somebody what happened, and they said, gee, I don't know, but after the game we'll talk to him and find out.
When you think about going through those doors, right away Oakland comes to mind.
Yes, it does.
One strike to count to Eddie Murray. Here's the pitch. Line drive caught by Newman at first base. So there are 2 outs. The inning started with Bunbury grounding out to short. Rich Dower then reached on a throwing error by McKay, singled and lost one to make it 3-2, and Murray has just lined up the first baseman Jeff Newman. Pat Kelly the batter. The end of an inning and a half in Yankee Stadium tonight, 1-0 California. California scored their run on a Rick Miller home run. 2-out pitch to Kelly, swing and a miss. 1 strike to count to Kelly. Pat went down on strikes his first time up. The on-deck batter is Dan Graham. The Orioles have come up with 2 here in the 4th inning. Next pitch to Kelly, swing and a miss, and Norris has made him look bad again. I tell you, Kelly'd like to get even with Mike right now. Norris throws the ball at about 4 or 5 different speeds. 2-strike pitch to Kelly, sails upside, and every once in a while he'll come down from the side over the top. And he has hit 6 batters, by the way. Here's the 1-2 delivery to Kelly. It sails upside, mentioning that Bunbury almost got hit. And we don't know whether those pitches have a message or not. 2-2 to count with 2 outs. Nobody on. A pitch to Kelly at 5-3. Now goes to the hat, wipes off the forehead. Kelly awaits the 3-2 delivery. It's on the way. And did he walk him? Yes, he did. The pitch is high. Estienne broke for the dugout. He thought it was a strike. So Pat Kelly is on with a walk. And Dan Graham steps up. The Orioles couldn't even get a runner to first base until this inning when Dower reached on an error. Dan Graham out on strikes his first time up. There's not too much room between Armas and the wall in right field as they played Graham very deep. The ball is thrown over. Newman dead at first, and Pat Kelly will get up and scamper down to second. Kelly will look back to see if he can get the third, and he can't. And the error, I believe, will go to Mike Norris on the throw because he just threw it over Newman's head. You can't blame Jim for that one.
No, but that might take us right back to the conversation we were having a little while ago, Tom. I wonder what was on the ball that made it slip out of his grasp and sail over the head.
That's what Ray Miller will say, Chuck. One of the dangers in throwing a spitter or a grease ball is if it's hit out to your shortstop or your second baseman, you're anywhere in the infield, they might just momentarily bobble it with that substance on it. Wonder if it could have happened there.
Well, I don't know, and I hope the audience understands this is sheer guesswork on our part. This is just repeating conversation that's been presented to you by ball players, and this is not an accusation against Mike Norris at all, but it's just one of the more popular subjects of conversation among hitters, the pitchers doctor the ball. I guess that's been going on for a long, long time and probably will never stop. And that is not to say that Norris does by any stretch of the imagination.
And the word throughout the league is that every pitcher on this club occasionally will load up. Kelly off the bag at second. Graham is the batter. Here's the first pitch to Dan, and it's low, almost gets away from Estienne. 1 ball and no strikes to count. And the fans are starting to get into this game. I'll tell you, through the first 3 innings, this was a pretty quiet ballpark. Pretty good turnout tonight. Looks like they could have about 25,000 here. Next pitch to Graham, he lays off another low one. As he did not go for the Norris changeup, it was low. 2 balls and no strikes to count. Kelly is the runner at second base. Pitch to Grant. Swing and a miss. 2 balls and 1 strike to call. Will await the next pitch of Norris as he looks to Pat Kelly at second. The 2-1 delivery, ground ball off the second. Edwards is up with it to throw to first in time to retire Graham of the Orioles, but not before the Orioles come up with 2 big runs, and at the end of 4, the score is open 3, Baltimore 2.
The Kansas City Royals going at it against the Cleveland on the season.
Well, the Oakland A's will be in town again tomorrow night, and I keep repeating that because somehow or other Oakland is really not that big a draw in our ballpark, and I say to you in the radio audience that you're missing a chance to see a pretty darn good ball club with a lot of outstanding young players and a bunch of very good pitchers. They're here tomorrow night again. All right, Tom.
Here's the pitch to Piccolo. He bunts up in front of the mound. Graham will go out and pick it up in front of the plate. Rather, throw to first and strike. Piccolo tried to bunt his way on. Out in front of the plate, and Graham just tore off the mask, got out there in a hurry, and fired a bullet to first base to retire Piccolo. Anderson for the 3rd time tonight, and he hasn't walked back to the dugout yet. Singled his first time up, scored, and walked in the 3rd inning. Now, what Chuck was saying about an exciting club, Henderson, I guess, represents it about as much as any other player. He's pretty good in the field, too. He picked up his 12th assist in the outfield last night, throwing out Renicky from left field, trying to stretch a single into a double. Anytime a club steals 133 bases on you, they're going to be a good club to watch. Exciting. Well, let's see if Scott can figure out Henderson this time, who gets into that crouch stance of his. The first pitch to him is a call strike on what looked like it could have been a McGregor changeup. That's one thing about McGregor's changeup. A lot of times it's hard to tell the straight change because it's just a little slower than his fastball. 1 strike pitch is on the way, and that one's high. 1 ball and 1 strike to count. The Yankees have come up with 2 in the 2nd inning. At the end of 2 in New York, it's New York 2 and California 1. 1-1 pitch is on the way. Low ball 2. In fact, Jim Palmer was keeping the chart one night on Scott McGregor and told him after the game I could not tell the changeup from the fastball. He had me confused. Scotty now shakes off Graham. Here comes the 2-1 delivery to Henderson. Fly ball, center field. Bunbury perfectly positioned for it. Puts the glove up, and Henderson is going to go back to the dugout. 2 outs, nobody on. Again, the Oriole infield. Sensei is at 3rd base. Kiko Garcia at short. Dower at 2nd. Eddie Murray's at 1st. Behind the plate, Dan Graham. Into the outfield. Gary Renicky in left. Now Bunbury in center field, now moving over towards right field. And Singleton plays straight away and fairly deep against Murphy in right field. Swain went deep last night. The pitch to Murphy, it's a called strike. Left-hander to left-hander. The on-deck batter is Essien. 1 strike delivery is on the way, and it's low. 1 ball, 1 strike. Play Murphy to pull that ball to right field. The 1-1 pitch. Low ball 2. I think this turnout tonight is a little better than the Orioles expected. Of course, I could be fooled a number of times this year. The crowds have not turned out to be what they appear to be. 2-1 pitch is bounded foul down the right field line, and one of the things that can fool you after that Yankees series, if the place wasn't full, it just didn't look right. That's one of the more memorable series in the history of this great old game. Of course, I guess the Yankee fans want to forget about it. Here's the 2-2 pitch. It's fouled back onto the screen. The Orioles 2 games down to the Yankees in the loss column. That's where it counts. That half game, 2.5 games back. At some point, the Orioles will make up that other game. They have a doubleheader coming Monday. The thing to keep an eye on is the loss column, the all-important loss column. 2 outs, 2-2 delivery is on the way, and it's fouled back again. As I guess Earl Weaver put it the best a few weeks ago when the Orioles closed within a half game of the Yankees. Don't get excited. A lot of peaks and valleys before it's all over with. Here's the 2-2 pitch. Ground ball out to Dower at second. He'll pick it up on the chest high hop. Throw to first in time. The Oakland A's go down 1-2-3 at the end of 4 1/2. It's Oakland 3, Baltimore 2. Well, the Orioles are down in this game by a score of 3-2. Ken Singleton's 2-run homer brought the Orioles back. As far as the scoreboard is concerned, at Yankee Stadium at the end of 2 innings, the Yankees are leading California 2-1. And going into the bottom of the 5th inning at Fenway Park tonight, Seattle over Boston by a score of 4-0. Well, Doug DeCinces will lead it off as the Birds will again try to figure out Mike Norris. Here to take you the rest of the way is Chuck Thomas. Chuck?
Thank you, Tom, and good evening, everybody. Mike Norris will go to Doug DeCinces, who is having just kind of a tough year. Physically, the back needs repair. It needs surgery. It's just a matter of when. He is hitting .236, struck out against Norris in the 3rd inning, and the Oakland right-hander's first offering to DeCinces, breaking ball a little inside, ball 1. Norris, he changes speeds very well. Now, the 1-0 pitch coming to Doug, swinging the ground ball hit toward the shortstop. Shoulder-high hop. Piccolo makes the grab and throw in time to get DeCinces. And the young man on the mound, Mike Norris, has a heck of a screwgee. And a lot of times the hitters find themselves chasing that, particularly the left-handed batter. Here's Gary Renicky. He faced Norris in the 3rd inning, was out on a ground ball to the 3rd baseman, Dave McKay. McKay at 3rd, Piccolo at short, Edwards at 2nd, and Newman at 1st around the Oakland infield, and they've got that outstanding trio in the outfield. Mike Norris' first offering to Gary, a fastball that ran up and in, drives him off the plate, ball 1. That ball right along the letters, and Norris just moved him back a little bit. Henderson, the left fielder. Dwayne Murphy, the center fielder. The right fielder is Tony Armas. The 1-0 pitch to Renicky. Here's a strike over the outside corner around the knees. Get the pitching pattern. A fastball up and in, drives him off, then he hits a breaking ball over the outside corner of the knees. Now the 1-1 offering to Renicky. Breaking ball. Started his swing, tried to stop it, couldn't do it. Strike 2 is rung up. And that was an off-speed breaking ball from Mike Norris. What a talented young right-hander Oakland puts on the mound tonight. An 18-game winning right-hander, Mike Norris, the 1-2 to Renicky. Breaking ball in the dirt, 2 balls and 2 strikes. Three to 2, the A's lead the Orioles. They scored their 3 runs in the opening inning against McGregor. The pitch is in the dirt again, and the count now will be filled. 3-2 to Renicky. Throws a lot of strange pitches, does Norris. A lot of off-speed breaking balls and screwball. Here's his payoff, 3-2 to Renicky. A check swing and a foul back up the screen. Looked like Gary tried to stop that swing halfway through and didn't get it done, and it nicked it foul to the screen. Count rides on at full, 3-2. Ripken down the 3rd base side, and Frank Robinson on the 1st base side. Here's the 3-2 to Renicky. Popped him up. Down the 3rd base side. Here comes Dave McKay right near the bag at 3rd. He's got it. And that will be the 2nd out of the inning. And on that out, we'll pause for station identification. This is the Orioles Baseball Network.
This is the American Forces Radio and Television Service.
Well, here's the Orioles shortstop suffering through some very tough days. He's got a sore back. He's got sore feet, and he's got a sore back. He's hitting .202. Here's the ball 1 down low. In his only plate appearance against Norris tonight, he was out on the ground ball to the 3rd baseman, McKay. Right back. He's low again. Ball 2, 2 balls, no strikes. Another thing about Mike Norris, he is not a thrower. He's a pitcher. He's got a pretty darn good idea of what he's doing with everything he throws up there. Now his 2-0 pitch to the waiting Kiko. Fastball, and a strike is called outside corner of the letters. 2-1. Fellow pitched a shutout in his major league debut, and shortly thereafter had to have his elbow operated on. The pitch is a strike called outside corner of the knees. 2-2. Kiko just having a word or two with the plate umpire, Darrell Cousins. He felt the pitch was a little bit wide, or if not wide, low. And the 2-2 pitch. Norris to Garcia. Curveball hit in the dirt off the third base side, and the count holds 2-2. Oakland Ball Club has the fellow who leads the American League in stolen bases, a guy who's right up there in the home run column, and Tony Armas. Armas also among the leaders in runs batted in with 89. Here now the 2-2 to Kiko. Breaking ball is a little high and inside, and this time it's Mike Norris who starts off the mound, as if to say, why wasn't that a strike? Takes the hat off and scratches his head and walks the circle behind the mound. Does Norris. He hasn't said anything. Now he reaches to get a pinch of the rosin bag, and Jim Eskian says, time, Mr. Umpire, I'm going to go out and talk to my friend, Mike Norris. So they're meeting on the grass between the mound and the plate. And Eskian, whatever he had to say, Norris agreed completely. He might have gone out and said, hey, Mike, the pitch was a little bit inside. And Norris said, okay, back to work. 3-2. Low ball 4. Kiko Garcia reaches with a 2-out walk. This but the second free ticket given up by Oakland's Mike Norris. And the batter now is Al Bumbry. In last night's ball game, the Orioles just, couldn't get a thing going. 6 base hits, and every one of them, after 2 were out. There were 5 singles and a double by Al Bumbry in last night's game. And now Sherwood Merrill, the third base umpire, has cautioned Mike Norris about going to his mouth on the mound. I don't think there's been any kind of a penalty, to the best of my knowledge. It was just that Sherwood said, be careful, Mike, because you're getting close to that, to the mouth area, and if you get there, we've got to just automatically hang up a ball 1 on the scoreboard. Now the pitch to Al Bumbry. No, Norris to first base. Kiko dives back safely. 2 out of the inning. 3-2 Oakland. We're in the bottom of the 5th. Mike Norris against Scott McGregor tonight. The set of the pitch is a drag call to Bumbry. He laid that pretty good hummer in there, kept it over the outer portion. Strike 1 is called to Al, who has grounded to second and to short at 2 previous turns. Newman is holding with Garcia, who has a fair sort of a lead over at first base. Now Norris is ready to work again, and a quick throw to first, and he threw it away. Garcia is up and running towards second base. I think it bounced in down the first base side, and Garcia's going all the way to third, and I don't know whether he's allowed it or not. Now, Earl Weaver, I was watching Garcia, did not see where the ball went, whether it hit the rolled-up tarp and bounced into the seat. But Garcia, they say, will have to go back to second base, and Earl Weaver wants to talk to Marty Springstead, the first base umpire. And Frank Robinson is explaining, in his opinion, he felt it should be 2 bases. Tom?
Well, I'll tell you, Chuck, I thought for a moment that it got caught up into the tarp area, but the first baseman never did go over and retrieve it. It looked like it might have caught him
behind the tarpaulin, is right. That's what happened, and the spectator leaned over and picked it up. 1 base is allowed on the throwing error, the second of the game, to pitcher Mike Norris. That's the second time that he has gone to first base and thrown the ball away. So there are 3 Oakland errors. 2 of those belong to the Oakland pitcher, Mike Norris. Garcia is at second base. And the 1-strike pitch to Bumbry. He represents the tie run. And the ball is inside. 1 ball and 1 strike. Mike Norris is now staring at the plate umpire, Darrell Cousins, just to say, well, that's my best pitch. I ought to get a strike with that. He was just a trifle inside in the opinion of Darrell Cousins. Bumbry waits for 1-1, and here it is. High and outside. 2 balls and strike. Mike Norris with a 2-1 to Al Bumbry. Fouled away toward the press box and out of play.
Chuck, earlier tonight I asked Al Bumbry, I said, is Norris a pretty tough guy to steal on? He says, well, to tell you the truth, I haven't been on that much against him. Find out.
Typical Bumbry rejoinder. All right, 2 balls, 2 strikes to Al. Norris fires. He's high. Ball 3-2 now to Bunbury. 3 runs, 4 hits, and 3 errors for the Oakland A's. 2 runs, 1 hit, no errors for the Orioles. The payoff, 3-2 to Bunbury. Ground ball hit at the second baseman, waiting is Edwards. The belt high hop to throw to first. The inning is over. At the end of 5, it is Oakland 3, Baltimore 2.
Fenway Park in Boston tonight. At the end of 5 innings of play, Seattle leads Boston by a score of 4-1. Estienne will lead it off, so is Scott McGregor, Jim Estienne, and Chuck Thomas. Estienne drew a walk below the bases in the opening inning against Scott McGregor. And then in the third inning, Estienne was out on a fly ball to left fielder Gary Renicky. Scotty throws, and the breaking ball, the strike is called. Kind of spun the curveball up there. 1 strike to Jim Estienne. McGregor rocks over the rubber. The left-hander's pitch is inside. Now 1-1. Strange when McGregor gets, he's a very intelligent pitcher, and he'll recognize the trend of the hitter very, very rapidly, and will change his pitching pattern. The 1-1 offering is a high foul going to be out of play behind the plate. That is to say, if he figures that they're just sitting there waiting for the off-speed pitch, waiting for the change of a breaking ball, he'll just go to the fastball. And although it is not one of the great fastballs in the league, it will get the job done when you're expecting quite another pitch. The 1-2 offering, high and away, and a ball. That combined, the ability to change speeds and the ability to throw the ball where you want to, is the key to success. Ground ball sharply hit to the Sensei at third. He's up with it nicely. Long throw and plenty of time. And Estienne is the first out. McGregor's got a pretty good little streak going right now. 8 in a row retired. The Yankees 2, California 1 at the end of 3 innings. As Tom Maher mentioned a moment ago, if it is possible, we will join the California broadcast after our broadcast is over tonight so that you can hear the remainder of the Yankee game. Right now, 2-1, the Yankees lead California after 3. Here is Tony Armas. He has gone out unassisted to the first baseman, looks at the breaking ball over the outside corner of the knee. Strike is called. Armas then singled into center field in the third inning. And the 1-strike pitch to Tony is a high fly ball to deep center. Bunbury going back, still back, near the warning track at the wall. Bunbury leaps. It is gone off the top of the fence and out of the field of play. Bunbury made the leap at the top of the wall, couldn't get to it. Armas has hit number 30 straight away to center field. And Oakland now has a 4-2 lead. Bunbury looked as though he might have had a play as he maneuvered on the ball, and as Tom mentioned earlier, there is a bit of a breeze blowing towards center field tonight, but I don't think that ball needed any help from the breeze. And as soon as Bunbury got to the wall and made the desperate leap, you could see that it was gone and hit in those bleachers behind the center field wall. Here's a swing and a foul tip, strike 1 to Newman. And a swing and a ground ball to the shortstop. Garcia's there, pick up and throw, and that's the second out. Armas now with 30 home runs and 91 runs batted in. He had to be looking for, I guess, the fastball, and he just jumped right on it. Towering fly ball, kept right on going. Bunbury reacted as if he had maybe a play, and once he crossed the warning track, he realized that he didn't, although he did make the jump anyway. The batter now is Mike Heath. He has singled and bounced to short. And McGregor paints a strike over the outer corner. This fellow is now 11 hits in 18 trips against the Orioles. I wonder what else he does. He's hitting .229 against everybody else. Swinging a high foul. Looks out of play to the first base side. Dan Graham can't get to it without a ticket. So the count is 2 strikes. Well, George Brett, 1 for 4 tonight, is hitting .399. They are in Cleveland this evening. 2 strikes to the batter, Heath. He is the designated hitter for the Oakland A's.
McGregor into the move, and the pitch coming is just a little outside. A ball and 2 strikes. How many designated hitters do you know that are hitting 229? This fellow just seems to hit the Orioles very well, and so Billy Martin says, hey, look, that's what I need, somebody who can handle that Orioles staff, and he certainly has been able to do it. He thought that McGregor was taking a bit too long, and he backed away. That home run hit off McGregor a moment ago by Tony Armas is only the 14th of the year thrown by the Baltimore left-hander. 24,587 paid tonight. 24,587. McGregor staring intently at Graham so long that Heath again requests time and backs away. Just as McGregor rocked the throw, Heath backed out again. 2 out, nobody on. And the 1-2. Well, a ticket. So the count is 2 strikes. Well, George Brett, 1 for 4 tonight, is hitting .399. They are in Cleveland this evening. 2 strikes to the batter, Heath. He is the designated hitter for the Oakland A's. McGregor into the move, and the pitch coming is just a little outside. A ball and 2 strikes. How many designated hitters do you know that are hitting .229? This fellow just seems to hit the Orioles very well, and so Billy Martin says, hey, look, that's what I need, somebody who can handle that Orioles staff, and he certainly has been able to do it. He thought that McGregor was taking a bit too long, and he backed away. That home run hit off McGregor a moment ago by Tony Armas is only the 14th of the year thrown by the Baltimore left-hander. 24,587 paid tonight. 24,587. McGregor staring intently at Graham so long that Heath again requests time and backs away. Just as McGregor rocked the throw, Heath backed out again. 2 out, nobody on. And the 1-2 offering. Swing and a foul back to the screen as Mr. Heath had a heck of a rip at that McGregor pitch. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Four runs, 5 hits, the Oakland A's. 2 runs on only 1 base hit. Singleton, home run. That's all the Orioles can do against Mike Norris tonight. The pitch outside. 2 balls, 2 strikes. When the other guy pitches a 1-hitter, your chances of winning are kind of slim, I would say. The right-handed swinging Mike Heath waits the 2-2 pitch from McGregor. The arm down on the pitch. Swing and a miss. He struck him out. The inning is over at the end of 5.5. Oakland 4, Baltimore 2.
Science.
Again, a reminder, you can take a look at a pretty exciting baseball club. The Oakland A's with great speed under Billy Martin. These 2 teams play here again tomorrow night, 7:30 game time, and at 2 o'clock Sunday afternoon. You deserve to see the Oakland A's play baseball in the 1980 season. And believe me, if they can come up with a few players under their new ownership, they're going to be a force to be reckoned with in the American League West. Right now tonight, they're a force to be reckoned with as far as the Orioles and Rich Dower are concerned, Chuck. It'll be... Here's Dower, and he takes a strike over the inside corner of the hand. Looks like a screwball from Mike Norris. It'll be interesting to see how this ball club from Oakland fares next year with new ownership. The ball is down low. And particularly when you go back over the track record of Billy Martin as a major league manager, there's some very unusual kind of facts that jump out at you. The 1-1 pitch to Dower. Curveball hit in the dirt to the third baseman, and McKay makes a pretty good left hand stab and throws to first in time to get Dower. 1 gone. Take a look at Billy Martin's managing record. You'll find the first time, the first year with this club, He does very, very well. The first year he was with Minnesota, they won. The first year he was with the Detroit Tigers, they finished second. 72, they finished first. Then they dropped off to third. The first year he was with Texas, they finished second. The next year with Texas, they finished fourth. First year with the Yankees, he was third, and then first, and then first again. And then suddenly, 2 fourth-place finishes. Here's the ball down low now. 2 balls, no strikes for Singleton. There is a report that Larry Harlow may have homered for the California Angels. Singleton waiting the 2-0 from Norris. It's low again. That second through ball. 3 balls, no strikes. He seems to change speed with his jersey. As soon as we have confirmation of a Harlow home run, we'll pass it along to you. And the 3-0 pitch. Norris to second. Here's the ball 4 outside. A 1-out walk. That's the 3rd walk issued tonight by Mike Norris, and it'll bring to the plate Eddie Murray. Murray comes to the plate representing the tie run. Murray tonight has yet to get one out of the infield. He bounced to the mound in the second inning and then hit a scorching line drive, but the first baseman, Jeff Newman, went soaring into the air and picked it off. Well, Harlow has hit a 3-run home run for the California Angels in the 4th inning. He hits one with 2 on. So that'll wipe out the Yankees 2-1 lead. Make it 4-2, California in the 4th inning. Now, Eddie Murray requesting time, backs away, and Etienne is now going to go out and talk to his pitchers. I'll tell you one thing you don't have to worry about when Oakland's in town. You really don't have to worry about the bullpen. Not at all. They must be one of the best red bullpens in the American League. The complete game, 76. The save, 10. And the pitch is a strike over the outside corner of the knees for Eddie Murray. Crowd roar in the background brings the message board with the information on the Harlow home run that we just told you about. The 1-strike pitch, ground ball sharply hit right by the first baseman into right field. Singleton around third, headed for third. Here comes the arm and throw. Singleton is out. Throw to second base. Singleton tried to go first to third on right field of Tony Armas. If you've got great speed, you can take that chance. Singleton was thrown out without any difficulty. Armas charged the base hit. They ruled it an error to the first baseman on the ground ball off his glove into right field. Murray takes second base on the throw to third base that wiped out Singleton for the 2nd out of the inning. And it was really not close. With 2 down now and Murray at second base, here comes Pat Kelly, who has fanned and walked in 2 previous turns. Well, we look at the slender right-hander Mike Norris, still working on a 1-hitter. They only hit the 2-run home run by Singleton in the 4th inning. That followed a throwing error charged to the third baseman Dave McKay that allowed Dower to reach. Pitch to Pat Kelly, off-speed pitch much too high, and the ball 1. Well, there's a pitching change. Ron Davis now is in the game, pitching for the Yankees in the 4th inning. Larry Harlow has hit a 3-run home run for the California Angels. They lead 4-2. The pitch. There's a strike, and again the screwball hit the outside corner of the letter. Eddie Murray, the runner at second base, 2 outs. The 1-1 pitch. Here's the slow curve. Didn't find the strike zone. On the count now 2 balls and a strike.
That would be for Armas his 11th outfield assist. And the three guys that patrol the outfield for Oakland. Here's a swing and a miss. 2-2 to Kelly. He has had his trouble with Mike Norris tonight. Henderson, Murphy, and Armas, who are the three gifted Oakland outfielders, combined have a total of 35 outfield assists. 2-2 to Kelly. He's fanned and walked in two previous turns. 2 out. Eddie Murray, the runner, with a pretty good lead at second. The pitch to Kelly, a swing and a miss, and the inning is over. Kelly just cannot figure out Mike Norris. At the end of 6, the score is Oakland 4 and Baltimore 2.
Baseball Hall of Famer Stan Musial and sportscaster Joe Garagiola.
Third baseman.
Again at Yankee Stadium tonight, Larry Harlow has hit a 2-run homer to put the California, a 3-run homer to put the California Angels in front of the New York Yankees 4-2 going into the bottom of the 4th inning. Davis is now in that game for Tiot. McKay is going to lead it off with the Oakland A's, and we'll go back to Chuck.
Well, McKay against Scott McGregor has fanned and bounced to the mound. He's a switch hitter and a right-hander to Scotty. Looks at the breaking ball. A strike is called. The Orioles have had only one base hit off Mike Norris through the first 6 innings. That was a 2-run home run by Ken Singleton. And the 1-strike pitch. McKay squares the bunt, pops it up foul off the third base side. Nobody could reach it. Didn't stay in the air long enough. 2 strikes. Louis Tiant out of the ball game. Ron Davis has come on in relief for the New York Yankees, playing very well. The Yankees have won 7 of their last 8, while the Orioles win 5 of their last 8. The Orioles have gone from a half a game to 2 1/2 games behind the Yankees. And Earl Weaver pointed this out a couple of times to all of us who travel with the ball club. He said, now look, after that Yankee series, we're still going to have a lot of ups and downs before this thing is over. Here's a swing and a foul out of play. Baseball is a game of streaks. You're up, you're down, of hills and valleys, more or less. And the idea is to have more hills than valleys. But, the 2-strike offering. McKay swings the ground ball up the third base side. It's backhanded grab by the shortstop. Garcia throw to first. Safe at first base as McKay slides in. Garcia did everything he could do. He made a backhanded grab deep in the hole and a strong throw. And Dave McKay, in an effort to help his cause, went sliding at first base and just did beat the throw. So he has an infield hit, has Dave McKay. Good effort on the part of Kiko Garcia and a good effort on the part of Dave McKay. Now time as third base coach Clete Boyer walks down and talks to Mike Edwards.
Mike Edwards.
Edwards has fly to center and bounced to short. Eddie Murray will take the bag with McKay, the runner at first base. And we're getting some activity out of the Oriole bullpen. They had Dave Ford up a couple of times earlier. McGregor to first base. No play. Now it's Sammy Stewart, I believe. The center of the pitch. Edwards wants the bunt and ducks out of the way of the pitch. It's blowing inside. The runner going to second base and dives in without attracting a throw. Pitch was blowing inside, and Edwards had to duck and jump back out of the way to avoid being hit. And the ball got by the catcher, Dan Graham, enough to allow the advance on the part of the base runner, Dave McKay. It'll be probably a wild pitch. We'll see in a moment when the official scorer has a chance to look at it again and make a decision, and he decides a wild pitch. California managed 4 runs in the top of the 4th inning. They now lead the Yankees 5-2. Here's the bunt off the third base side. Defensively lets it know. He decides to pick it up and then drop the ball and doesn't have a play anywhere. He decided to let it roll and then realized, son of a gun, it's not going to roll foul. I better get to it. And by the time he picked it up, it was too late to do a thing about it. Into third goes McKay. And reaching on the bunt single goes Edwards. skipper, Earl Weaver, is on his way to the mound. And he's calling Kiko Garcia in from shortstop to tune in on the conversation. That right-hander out there, I think, might be Boddicker. I don't think it's Sam Stewart. Weaver has explained what he felt was necessary to talk about this. And now Earl is on his way back to the dugout, and Scotty is still very much in the ballgame. And it is Mike Boddicker who is throwing in the Oriole bullpen. I got to look at the 5, and then the second time I looked, I recognized the fact that it wasn't Stewart. So we figured it had to be the newcomer, Mike Boddicker. Runners at first and third with nobody out in the 7th inning. 4-2 Oakland, and they keep the pressure on you all the time. Here is Rob Piccolo. They have run the suicide squeeze successfully, 13 out of 19 tries. The pitch, swing and a miss, strike one to Piccolo. The good running Edwards is over there at first base. The Oriole infield is up about halfway, maybe a couple of steps off the infield grass, all the way around. Gregor ready to come to the right-handed bat of Piccolo. Throws, swing, and again a miss. 2 strikes to Piccolo. Piccolo struck out against McGregor in the 2nd inning and was thrown out trying to bunt his way out in the 5th inning by Dan Graham. McGregor with a peek to Graham for the side. Oakland runners first and third with nobody out. And the McGregor pitch. Piccolo looks low and outside. Ball 1. This game is being sent back to Venezuela tonight. And the 1-ball, 2-strike pitch to Piccolo. Here's a high pop. It's out towards second base. Dower is calling for it. On the skin of the infield, he's got it for the first out of the inning. 1 gone. Top of the batting order, and it'll be Ricky Henderson. He's about all the trouble anybody can think of. The first time we went to Oakland this year in 3 games in the Coliseum, this fella came to the plate 15 times and reached base 12 of the 15. He had 8 hits in 11 official trips to the plate. The other times, he walked. Now, last night, he reached twice via a walk. Once he hit into a forced play. He stole 3 bases. Tonight, he has singled and walked and flied to center field. The infield will be set about where it was a moment ago. The deepest man in the infield, second baseman Dower. The pitch to Ricky is in the dirt and blocked nicely by Dan Graham. Ball 1 to Ricky Henderson. Mike Boddicker, a right-hander, is throwing in the Oriole bullpen along with Tippy Martinez. And here is a lot of trouble in the person of Ricky Henderson. McGregor throws. Swing and a miss. A ball, a strike. Eddie Murray calling for time and going halfway in to talk a little bit with Scott McGregor. The only Oriole hit a home run by Singleton. Ricky Henderson just going right down on his knees and actually got right down on his left knee in the box momentarily, and then he stands up. Here is the 1-1 pitch. McGregor to the waiting Henderson. Bud right back toward the mound. McGregor has the throw to the plate. That's got a run down between the plate and third. Throw to DeCente, miss. And the throw then hits the runner. It goes to the left field. And here he is coming home as DeCente blew the play. All he had to do was make a throw to third base where Garcia was covering, and he threw the ball right into the big, broad back of the retreating runner, Dave McKay. Henderson reaches on the fielder's choice. And it'll be an error to the third baseman, DeSensei, on the throw that will allow the fifth run to come home. At second base, Edwards and the Orioles are having a tough night against Oakland. They are not making the plays that should be made. They are not running the bases as they should be run. And they're having all the trouble in the world against the right-hander Mike Norris. Only one hit through the first 6 innings. And a throw to first base, back safely goes Ricky Henderson. Eddie Murray was not holding with the runner. He was behind him, bird-dogging him just a little bit. The lead runner at second is Edwards. 1 out of the inning. And the pitch now to Dwayne Murphy. He turns to bunt and takes the ball low and outside. They had the squeeze on. The runner was headed for the plate with McKay. The ball was bunted right back to the mound by Henderson. Back threw it to the plate, and Graham then turned McKay around with a throw to the third baseman, DeSensei. The runner was back beyond DeSensei, and then Doug had to throw to the shortstop covering at third. Here's a throw to second base that's into center field. And here go the runners again. Down to third base goes Edwards, and up to second base goes Henderson. Bad throw. Error 2. Normally, the Orioles play the kind of baseball where the other guy makes the error, but tonight, there are 6 errors in this ballgame. And the Orioles have committed 2 on throws. And the Oakland A's have committed 3 of their 4 have been on throws. Runners now at second and third with 1 out. And Dwayne Murphy waiting a 1-ball, 1-strike pitch from Scott McGregor. And with first base open, they're going to put Dwayne Murphy on. Here's the ball 2 outside, so this will be an intentional walk. Charge to Scott McGregor. Scotty walked Effian in the first inning. And now Henderson here in the third. And now in the 7th inning, he gives up this intentional walk to Dwayne Murphy. And the bases are loaded again. The Oakland A's had the bases loaded back in the first inning, and they hammered 3 runs in that bases loaded opportunity. Now they've got 1 run home in this bases loaded situation, and the batter due will be the right-handed swinging Jim Effian. He's walked, fly to left, and grounded to third in 3 trips against Scott McGregor. 5-2. Oakland A's are leading, and the Orioles have defensively played very poorly in this inning. A routine rundown play. Simple matter. And Doug just made a bad throw that hit the runner going back into the bag. Now in this bases loaded situation, McGregor is ready to go to the right-handed swings of Jim Effian. Scotty is ready. And the pitch, swing, and a miss, strike 1. And the 1-strike offering. McGregor sets at the belt and comes to the plate with a pitch low inside for a ball. 1 ball and 1 strike. The 1-1 offering to the Oakland catcher. McGregor delivers. Here's a breaking ball, low and inside. Ball 2. 2 balls and 1 strike. Now the 2-1 pitch. McGregor throws. Here's a swing and a foul right up the screen in front of the booth. The count now 2 balls and 2 strikes. The Orioles in one of those valleys that Skipper Earl Weaver talked about. Now the 2-2 pitch. McGregor delivers. High and away, ball 3. 3 balls, 2 strikes. No room for Espion. 1 out. A run in. And the 3-2 pitch. McGregor sets at the belt, and the left-hander's pitch to Espion. A line drive caught by the third baseman. He tags the bag at third for the double play. Line drive to Defense. He was headed to the bag when he caught the ball and stepped on the bag to complete the double play and wipe out Oakland in the 7th inning. At the end of 6 1/2, Oakland 5, Baltimore 2.
3 1/2. Dan Graham is going to lead it off for the Orioles. They're down in this game 5-2. We'll go back to Chuck.
Well, it'll be Graham in his story tonight. He struck out in the 2nd inning against Norris and then was out on a bouncer to the second baseman Edwards in the 4th inning. And a southpaw swinger. Mike Norris, for those of you just tuning our way, is working on a one-hitter. In the 4th inning, Singleton had a 2-run home run. Here's a strike call to Graham. The board is plastered with errors tonight. The Oakland A's have committed 4, and the Orioles have committed 2. Another off-speed pitch to Dan Graham is inside for a ball. 1 ball, 1 strike. And the pitch, swing and a miss. A ball and 2 strikes. Crowd reaction you're hearing is about the score posted on the scoreboard that Tom Maher just gave you. It's California 5-2 over the Yankees after 4. Here's a swing and a miss, and Graham chased the pitch out of the strike zone. Number 5 in the strikeout column for the Oakland right-hander Mike Norris. That's the toughest pitch in baseball to lay off. That fastball that's up. Very, very few hitters are disciplined enough to stay away from it. One of the reasons why Bumbry has improved so much this year is he has helped himself in that department. Here's a ball 1, too high to Doug DeCinces. As a hitter, DeCinces has struck out and bounced to short. And the 1-0 pitch is blowing inside ball 2. Of the 6 errors on the board, 5 have been throwing errors. That's a little unusual, a little unique. Both of the Oriole errors on throws, and 3 of the 4 Oakland errors on throws. 2 by pitcher Mike Norris in an effort to go to first base. Here's a ball 3, low inside to DeCinces. 3-0 now. The 3-0 strike over the inner portion of the letters. 3 balls and a strike to Doug. DeCinces has backed out and now stepped in again. 3-1 pitch. Here's a line foul down the left field side. Out of play. This Oakland pitching staff, incidentally, leads the league in ERA with 3.43. They've completed 17 of their last 25 ball games. Swing and a fly ball, well hit down in the left field corner, hooking toward the foul pole, and it's a foul ball and out of play. Speaking of the speed of the Oakland Ball Club, they are 7 out of 14 in steals at home this year. They have executed 13 double steals, a triple steal, and are 13 of 19 on suicide squeezes coming into tonight's ball game. It might have been 13 of 20. Except for a part of the game of baseball called an error. Now the 3-2 pitch to DeCinces again. Norris Norris shaking off a couple of sides. Now he's got what he wants, and here's his 3-2. Swing and a foul right behind the plate. Tomorrow night at 7:30, Jim Palmer and Rick Langford. The amazing Mr. Langford tomorrow night for Oakland. He's made 26 starts and 23 complete games, 20 in a row. 3-2 to DeCinces. Popped up out into shallow center. Picholo, the shortstop, backpedaling is there and makes the catch for the second out of the inning. 2 down in the bottom of the 7th. And still the Orioles stare out at Mike Norris, realizing that there's only been one base hit in 6 2/3 innings. Norris is literally tying the Orioles in knots. He is toying with it. They have not been able to generate any kind of an offense at all. So good has been the open right-hander Mike Norris. And now the pitch to Renicky. Change up is blowing outside, ball 1. A year ago in this ballpark, he pitched a one-hitter. Well, he's got another one going tonight. Here's the ball 2 down low. And the 2-0. It's inside, ball 3. He has walked 3 men, has Mike Norris. First time we saw him out in Oakland this year, he went 14 stunning innings. And then Tony Armas hit a grand slam home run to win it for him. 3-0 pitch. He's walked Renicky with a ball 4. And now, rather than Kiko Garcia, we're going to get Terry Crowley. Terry Crowley will bat for Kiko Garcia. And Billy Martin is coming out of the dugout to talk to Mike Norris. I don't believe there's any activity out of the bullpen.
Batting for Kiko Garcia, number 10, Terry Crowley.
The Crow is hitting .297 on the year. Martin now, I think, is going to activate somebody out there in the bullpen. And it's going to be Bob Lacey, the left-hander. Bob Lacey. Lacey begins to warm, and Martin is talking to Mike Norris. Listening in is Effian and shortstop Picholo, and now going out to see what he can do to speed things up a little bit is the plate umpire Darrell Cousins. And the conference is now breaking up. Martin has imparted what information he felt necessary, and I would think that most of it had to do with Terry Crowley and how he felt he should pitch to him. The Crow against Mike Norris. The Birds have just not been able to do a thing with Norris all night, other than a single and home run. Here's a ball 1 inside to Crowley. There have really not been any balls hit hard. There was a line drive hit by Eddie Murray in the 4th inning. Was picked off by first baseman Jeff Newman. There are nets of infield ground balls and pop-ups, and that's how strong Norris has been. Here's a swing and a miss. A ball and a strike, and Norris to Crowley was a little bit sneaky quick on that fastball. 1 ball and a strike to the pitch batter, Crowley. The set of the pitch. Way outside, a ball, 2 balls, and strike. Not very often do you see Crowley chase the pitch out of the strike zone. And the 2-1 offering. Strike 2 call right above the knees on the outside corner. 2-2 now to Crowley. Not a guy in the ball club that swings the bat that doesn't have a lot of respect for the open right-hander Norris. He's got good stuff. He makes a mess of good pitches, and he'll just fight you and battle you right to the... Well, he's improved in Oakland 14 innings one day. Here's the 2-2 to Crowley. Here's a fly ball hit toward left field. Henderson is backing and waiting, and Henderson makes the catch. And that's the final out of the inning at the end of 7. It is Oakland 5, Baltimore 2.
He'll lead off against Scott McGregor. The A's lead it 5-2 going to the eighth, Chuck.
Well, here's Armas against McGregor. And Scott's first offering to the right-handed batter, low and outside, ball one. Now the Orioles in one of those slumps right now. They're just not hitting, and they're certainly not playing very well. Here's a swing and a slow roller to the charging third baseman. Barehanded pick up and throw. Safe at first base is Armas. Armas beats out a leg hit on a slow roller. Down the first base side, the third base side, the Sensei charge, made a barehanded pick up and throw, and he could not get on. So Tony tonight is on a 3-for-4 night against Scott McGregor. The batter will be Newman. Newman struck out, hit into a force, and bounced to the shortstop. Strongly built right-handed batter is Jeff. McGregor hits the set at the belt, checks the lead of the runner, and goes to first base. The McGregor pitch. Well, the bunt is on. Newman stabbed at it, I think, over the outside portion of the plate. He did, and the plate umpire, Darrell Cousins, said, yeah, that's a strike. The pitch was way outside, and Newman chased it, and now here comes his third base coach, Clete Boyer, to have a little bit of a talk with him, let him know that maybe with a 5-2 lead, Skipper might let you just go ahead and swing the bat. Tim Stoddard is throwing in the Oriole bullpen. Tim's last couple of outings has not been up to par. Now the set by McGregor. And the bunt is still on, bunted off the first base side. Here's Eddie Murray with a pickup throw to the second baseman covering his time to get the sacrificing Newman. One away with a runner at second base. The batter now will be Mike Heath, who singled in the first inning. At that time, he had 11 hits and 17 trips. He's now 11 for 19 against the Orioles. They're at the bottom of the sixth inning in New York, and it's the California Angels 5, the New York Yankees 2. Here in Baltimore, it's 5-2 Oakland over the Orioles. This has been one of the weaker efforts from the Orioles here of late. But then again, how long can a club continue to play 700 baseball? It just doesn't figure you can do that too long. Bob Lacey, the left-hander, is still at work in the Oakland pen. And McGregor's pitch to Mike Heath. Left-handed to right-hander. Cut on ground ball right at the third baseman. Defense waits for the convenient hop and now throws to first in time to get Heath. Two down. Runner holding second base Tony Armas. And coming to the plate now, Dave McKay. McKay struck out in the second inning. Bounced to the pitcher in the fourth inning, and then he had an infield hit in the seventh inning. Took second base on a wild pitch, third base on a bunt single by Edwards, and then they went with one out to the squeeze. Henderson bunted the ball, and pitcher McGregor had it, threw to the plate, turned the runner around, threw to Sensei, and Doug's throw to third base where Garcia was covering, hit the runner in the back, and that allowed the fifth run to come home. The way Mike Norris is going, it doesn't seem to make a whole lot of difference whether they have 3 runs, 5 runs, or how many runs. The pitch coming is a little bit high for a ball. The Orioles have just not been able to do a thing with Norris. We're on the top of the 8th inning, and the Orioles have had 1 hit all night. Great pitches from Oakland's right-hander. McGregor throws. Here's a strike call. 1 ball, 1 strike. Tomorrow night, Jim Palmer will be going for the Orioles against Rick Langford. And then Sunday afternoon, Steve Stone and Steve McCanny. And the 1-1 pitch. McGregor throws. Here's a high fly ball, deep left center field. Going hard, Bumbury can't get there. On the warning track and now against the wall. Scoring number 6 is Armas. And into second base goes Dave McKay. A run-producing double deep in the gap in left center field scores Armas with run number 6 and brings Earl Weaver out of the Oriole dugout. And you have the feeling that this might be it for Scott McGregor, and that is exactly what is taking place right now. Scotty has pitched better, I guess, on occasions, but then again, if you don't get any runs, it's awfully hard to do any better than he has done. His ball club has not been able to get him close. While the new pitcher makes his way to the mound, let us pause for this message.
Over 400 for a regular season.
Well, Scott McGregor leaves the game 7 2/3 innings tonight. 6 runs on the scoreboard at this point. The runner on base is his responsibility. 6 runs on 9 hits, striking out 4, walking 3, and giving up a home run to Tony Erman. Before we continue with information on Tim Stoddard and a brief look at the scoreboard, let's pause for station identification. This is the Orioles Baseball Network.
This is the American Forces Radio and Television Service.
Well, Tim Stoddard is in to relieve Scott McGregor, and Stoddard has been anything but effective in his last 2 outings, as he just didn't have it his last 2 times up, but he told us on the pregame show tonight, you might have heard him, that he was pressing a bit too much. He comes into the game tonight with a 3-3 record. Still has a very good ERA, 2.98, and leads the staff in saves with 19 to his credit. That game at Yankee Stadium in New York tonight, in the bottom of the 6th inning, California continues to lead the Yankees by a score of 5-2. And at Fenway Park in Boston, Seattle, going into the bottom of the 9th inning, leads Boston 4-2. Chuck?
Let's take a look now at Edwards against Tim Stoddard. Last time out against Seattle, Tim worked an inning of relief, got touched for 3 hits and 3 runs. And the pitch coming down to Edwards is a little bit high, ball 1. Stoddard, actually, in his last 2 outings, covering 3 innings, has been nailed for 7 runs. Now the set by the big right-hander. The pitch, swinging a ground ball hit at the second baseman down. He has the throw to first. The inning is over at the end of 7.5. It is Oakland 6, Baltimore 2.
3 tie, and Tom Seaver struck out 10 as the Reds beat the Cubs 5-3.
Stadium, it's California 5 and New York 2. And Mike Norris is out of this ball game. We have no idea why. He was sailing along with a 1-hitter. We'll probably, or maybe, finding out just a little later. Lacey has come on to pitch. So Norris against the Orioles tonight goes 7 innings. Gives up 2 runs on the single and home run, the only hit of the game. Striking out 5 and walking 4. Lacey has completed his warm-up tosses. His record on the year is 2-2 with a 2.89 ERA. 4 saves to his credit in 62 1/3 innings. Al Bunbury will lead it off, and we'll go back to Chuck.
Tom, we have no idea about the removal of Mike Norris, unless maybe a little bit hot and the heat got to him, if it's fatigue, or if he's got he threw 113 pitches. He's out of the ball game after 7 innings of 1-hit baseball, and the left-hander Bob Lacey throws to Al Bunbury down low for ball 1. See if the Orioles can do a little bit better against southpaw Lacey than they did against starter Mike Norris, who was just amazing. He's a great young competitor, and a ball 2 is blowing outside. The Orioles had a couple of opportunities, just 2, as a matter of fact, to break through against Norris in the 4th inning, and again in the 6th inning. But they were unable to do so. And now here is his replacement, Lacey, with a 2-0 to Bunbury. He takes, and a strike is called. 2 balls, 1 strike to Bunbury. It is Oakland 6, Baltimore 2. We are in the bottom of the 8th inning. The pitch coming down to Bunbury, it's a little outside, 3 balls and a strike. Kind of, you look at that scoreboard, you don't know which way to read it. There are so many errors up there. 6 in the ball game so far. And the pitch to Bunbury, it's high, ball 4, and Lacey has walked Bunbury to start the 8th inning, and here comes Billy Martin. Martin on the run is out to talk to Lacey. The shortstop, Piccolo, is also in there. He's kind of just tuned in, however, as Piccolo. Martin's the guy doing the talking. Didn't take Billy very long. He made his point. to left-hander Lacey. And here now is Rich Dower. Dower grounds to short, reached on a throwing error charged to third baseman Dave McKay in the fourth. And then in the sixth inning, Dower was out on a ground ball to short, making a ground ball to third. The pitch to Dower, strike over the inside corner of the knee. Well, they're in the bottom of the ninth inning at Fenway Park in Boston, 4-2. Seattle leading. Throw to first, no play. Mumbry is on the bag. First baseman Newman was not on the bag. White Sox shut out Toronto on a two-hitter by Hoyt. And the pitch to Dower. Swinging a fly ball down in the right field corner. Armas going hard to the glove side. Can't get there. It's in for the base hit. Dower tries for two. Mumbry is going to third. The throw to second is not in time. Dower is safe. And Mumbry is over at third base. Well, hit number two comes up in the bottom of the eighth inning against reliever Bob Lacey. And now the batter is going to be Singleton, who owned the only other hit in the ball game. A two-run home run in the fourth inning. 6-2, Oakland leading. Kansas City beats Cleveland. And the left-handed throw, Singleton looks, strike two, outside corner of the knees again. Jeff Jones is throwing out of the Oakland pen. Lacey has made two very good pitches to Singleton. Mumbry third, Dower leads second, and now Singleton's got to do something about protecting that plate. Lacey way in front. The two-strike pitch is a strike three call. Singleton is called out on strikes, and he does not believe that plate umpire Darrell Cousins saw the pitch with the way he saw it, to say the very least. Not very often that Singleton is called out on strikes. Three pitches and he's gone. Batter now will be Eddie Murray, and of course Eddie, a switcher like Singleton, will be hitting now from the third base side. There isn't that much difference really between them, right-handed and left-handed. Singleton 291 right-handed, 287 left-handed. Murray is 304 right-handed, 283 left-handed. A check of the swing, and the ball low and inside. Here comes the charge. What it'll take to put a charge into the Oriole bats, but they are really flat tonight. Now the 1-0 pitch to Murray. Here it is. High pop-up right around the plate. Coming down is the third baseman and the first baseman, and it's the catcher, and the catcher makes the grab on the first base side for the second out of the inning. The ball was in fair territory. Started out right up over the plate, and it looked as though catcher Effian didn't see the ball clearly. Third baseman McKay started to blaze in from third, and down the line from first came Newman, and suddenly Effian picked it up and said, "Don't worry about it, I've got it." Here comes Benny Ayala with runners at second and third. He will bat for Pat Kelly as the designated hitter. Benny Ayala. Here's Rex Barney's announcement.
Pat Kelly.
The year is hitting 286. He has 9 home runs, 28 runs batted in. And let's see with 2 out whether Oakland, this is not the tie run at the plate. First base is open. They are not going to put him on yet. The pitch to Ayala is high and outside for a ball. That doesn't mean that they are going to put him on. We'll see how Martin plays it. The left-handed bat of Graham is due. Naturally, that would be Dempsey. Well, it's California 5, the Yankees 2 in the middle of the seventh inning, the bottom of the seventh. Pitch to Ayala, low for a ball 2, and now catcher Jim Effian is barking at the plate umpire, Darrell Cousins. 2 balls, no strikes to Ben Ayala, batting for Pat Kelly. Kelly had a heck of a time against Mike Norris, who started tonight. He struck out twice. In between, he walked. And the 2-0 pitch to Ayala. Fly ball, well hit. It's going to be a 3-run home run. It is a gone Goslin. Does change the complexion of the game somewhat. Mike Norris throttled the Orioles on 1 hit. And here in the 8th inning, the Orioles get a leadoff walk to Mumbrey, a follow-up double to Dower. Singleton and Murray are out, and the pinch batter Ayala, not wanting to put the tie run on base, they pitched to him, and he hit his 10th home run of the year, and it is a 6-5 ball game. And Rick Dempsey is headed for the plate. Has been announced as the pinch batter. Suddenly, Memorial Stadium is really in the ball game. 1 swing of the bat by Ayala, and 3 runs are home. It is Oakland 6, Baltimore 5, and now here is Dempsey against Bob Lacey. The pitch to Dempsey is low, ball 1. Dempsey is hitting .264 on the year. Jeff Jones, as we mentioned, is working in the Oakland bullpen. There wasn't not a moment's hesitation. The minute the ball left Ayala's bat, you knew it was really gone. And a ball, too, is blowing inside the Dempsey. Ayala just hits the ball so hard, and he just ripped that pitch way up in the seats out in the left field corner. And the game takes on a different complexion now. And the personality of the crowd has changed. Lacey's 2-0 pitch to Dempsey. Here's a strike at the knee. 2 balls, 1 strike. Lacey is 2-2 on the year. In 62 1/3 innings of relief ball, he's worked to an earned run of just under 3. 2-1 pitch, line drive, foul ball down the third base side. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Six runs, 9 hits Oakland, 5 runs, 3 hits Baltimore. Ayala's 3-run home run, Singleton's 2-run home run represents 2 of the 3 hits to pitch. High foul, going to be out of play, way down on the upper deck of the left field corner. Well, Seattle has beaten Boston 4-2. That's the final. And the 2-2 to Rick Dempsey. Lacey throws. Swinging a ground ball at the shortstop. Piccolo has the throw to first. It's in time. And Dempsey is the final out. But at the end of 8 now, Oakland 6, Baltimore 5.
Schuler's new contract takes effect when the present contract expires.
Well, we'll have a new catcher as Rick Dempsey now will be behind the plate going to the 9th inning. And Rob Piccolo is the new batter against big Tim Stoddard. Pitchers hit slumps just the way hitters do, and Timmy had a little problem the last couple of times out. And now here is his first offering to Rob Piccolo. He's a bit high, ball 1. Looking to the plate umpire, and he wants to know, is it high? And Darryl Cousins says, And now the 1-0 pitch to Piccolo. Foul ball up the screen out of play. 1 ball, 1 strike. It'll be Piccolo, and then that tough out Ricky Henderson, and then Dwayne Murphy. That's a tough trio. The 1-1 pitch. swing and a miss. The ball is 2 strikes. Right-handed swinging Rob Peachlow has fanned, gone out trying to bunt and topped out. He's 0 for 3. The 1-2 pitch. Struck him out. Swing and a miss. And Peachlow's back in the dugout. One away on the ninth. Now the batter is Ricky Henderson. At least he is due. And I see that they're sending Henderson back into the dugout. Now, whether that's a move that Billy Martin is going to make insofar as a pinch batter, or whether Henderson discovered that maybe he had a broken bat, wanted to go back and get another one. We will know in a moment. Well, apparently it was the bat, an equipment change, and Ricky now is on his way. Dempsey, asked, can I take advantage of this time to throw a little bit? And he started to gun a few down the first base side to his teammate Eddie Murray. Here comes Ricky Henderson. The story on Henderson tonight, he had a base hit to left field in the first inning and then stole his 70th base. And that was one of those very close calls. Here is Stoddard's pitch to Henderson. Swing and a foul back to the screen. Strike 1. That call gone the other way, Oakland might not have had the 3 runs, but it was a bing-binger, and Henderson beat the tag with his 70th steal. Henderson walked in the third, fly to center of the fifth, and then reached on a fielder's choice in the second inning. Pitch. Right down Broadway, and strike 2 is called to Henderson. $24,587 this Friday night in Baltimore. Right up till Ayala swung the bat at the bottom of the 8th inning. That's not a whole lot to cheer about. 2 strikes to count. Stoddard works. Ground ball foul off the first base side. This fellow just has the can't miss tag on him. I guess the moment he started as a professional, he never hit under 300 in the minors. The guy right behind him is a solid individual and a whale of a ball player, Dwayne Murphy. Stoddard's 2-strike pitch to Henderson. Breaking ball, a little high. 1 ball, 2 strikes. 1 out, top of the 9th inning. 6-5, Oakland leads. And the 1-2. Ground foul, same area toward the Oakland dugout, first base side. Hope that you can make it tomorrow night. The Orioles really need some help. Between now and next Wednesday, when we finish in Detroit, the Orioles will know a whole lot more. While the Orioles are playing the Tigers, a doubleheader Monday and a single Tuesday and Wednesday, I think the Yankees are home against Toronto. The pitch. Swing and a miss. He struck him out of the slider. Stoddard with a great-looking slider gets Henderson swinging. Boy, that was a darn good-looking pitch, even from up here. Now with 2 down, via the strikeout route, it'll be Dwayne Murphy. You are thinking in terms of the 9th inning for Baltimore. Well, the 2 batters, DeCinces, Renicky, to start. And then Len Sakata, who was out there at shortstop. To go with 2 out and nobody on. The left-handed bat of Dwayne Murphy, and here is Stoddard's first offering. He's high, ball 1. Murphy bunted for a base hit in the first inning, and there wasn't a thing anybody in the world could have done to prevent it. Now the 1-0 pitch coming to Dwayne. High for ball 2. Then in the third inning, he fouled out to third, grounded to second, and then he was given an intentional walk by McGregor to load the bases in the 7th inning. And then Etienne hit into a line drive double play to end the inning. The 2-0 pitch to Murphy. There's a strike. Runner high. 2 balls and a strike. Pitch, swing and a foul, ropes up the screen and is out of play. balls, 2 strikes, and 2 out here on the top of the ninth. 6-5, Oakland over the Orioles. And the crowd now getting a little bit more enthusiastic and offering Stoddard as much encouragement as possible. The 2-2 pitch. Ball. It was low. At the plate, but apparently low. Good-looking pitch, in the opinion of Dempsey and Stoddard. But the plate umpire Cousins felt it was a little bit low. So that'll make it 3-2. Now, that was a very close call. It amazes me that fellows like Murphy have got good enough eye to take that pitch. High foul, going to be out of play on the upper deck. With a count, 3-2. Behind Murphy, the right-handed bat of Jim Essie. Murphy stands in, waiting now the 3-2 pitch. Here's Stoddard's move. Low. Ball 4. Stoddard has walked Murphy. A 2-out walk to Murphy. And the batter now will be Jim Essien. Essien walked to load the bases in the first inning. And then he flied to left, grounded to third, hit it line drive, double play. Stoddard ready to go. The pitch to Essien. High, ball 1. And the 1-0 pitch. Check swing foul into the pitch off the first base side. I hope everybody's all right. That was a mean line drive foul. 24,587. Ball, 1 strike pitch to Jim Essien. 6'7". There goes the runner. The pitch is taken for ball. Throw to second base. Bounces. He is safe at second base. A steal, a second by Dwayne Murphy. That's his 23rd steal of the year. Tell you what, last night it was Henderson stealing 3 in a row. The Orioles have just not been able to stop the running attack of the Oakland A's. Murphy steals number 23. He's now in scoring position. And the 2-1 pitch to Jim Essien with 2 outs. Stoddard is ready to go. And here's the pitch. Ground foul off the third base side. 2-2. With a 2-2 offering. The arm down, the pitch, cut on and fouled out of play. Behind the plate, Tippy Martinez throwing in the Oriole bullpen. Tomorrow night, Palmer. Rick Langston, Sonny Edwards, Stone, and Steve McCaddy. The 2-2 pitch. Here's a foul ball out of play toward the upper deck. So Essien is getting a piece of Stoddard, but not enough so that he can do anything with it. Now the 2-2 offering once again. Stoddard is ready. The ground ball by the pitcher, and it's into center field for the base hit. Here's Murphy around third. He's scoring. And it's a 7-5 ball game, and that stolen base is oh so big. The run batted in goes to Essien. And a great, big, huge run batted in it is. Stoddard struck out the first 2, and then the left-handed batter Murphy walked and then stole. And the batter now, Tony Armas. He is 3 for 4 tonight, including a solo home run. Swing and a miss, strike 1. 7-5. Oakland over the Orioles. And at Yankee Stadium. It's 5-2 in the bottom of the seventh inning. That bottom of the seventh has been out for quite some time. California leading the Yankees. Hassler has come in that seventh inning for California. Now the 1-1 pitch. Swing and a miss. The ball 2 strikes. They're in that bottom of the seventh inning, and I understand the Yankees have the tying run on third base. It's California 5, the Yankees 4 in the bottom of the seventh inning. Now the 1-2 offering on the way to Harmon. He couldn't stop the swing. The inning is over at the end of 8 1/2. Oakland 7, Baltimore 5.
Oakland is leading in this game by a score of 7-5. Sensei is going to lead it off for the Orioles. He'll be followed by Gary Renicky, and Sensei has a pair of the goat horns on tonight as he came up with a very big error earlier in the game. Of course, he could go deep here in the ninth inning and just shed those horns. We'll have to see what happens. The charge goes up to the stadium. Of Norris, and let's go back to Chuck.
Well, Lacey had a very rough 8th inning. 3 runs on 2 base hits, the Ayala home run. Stoddard got the first 2 in the top of the ninth, and then lost Murphy. And the A's have stolen without any difficulty here in this series against the Orioles. They have run very successfully against Dempsey last night. Henderson stole 3 of them. Now here is the Sensei with a bat tonight. He hasn't got the ball out of the infield. He struck out, bounced to short, popped to short. And the pitch to Doug, swinging a line drive base hit left field. So the Sensei at least lights a little spark here in this bottom of the ninth inning for the Orioles. The tie run is headed for the plate in the person of Gary Renicky. Now Renicky tonight, like Doug, hadn't gotten it out of the infield. Popped to third and grounded to third, and Billy Martin is on his way. And that might be it for Lacey. He may want to go to the bullpen. He's got a left-hander and a right-hander throwing in the bullpen at the moment. And it appears that Martin is going to make a pitching change. It'll be Jeff Jones. He was being summoned from the bullpen. Lacey leaves. And while the new pitcher makes his way to the mound, let us pause for this message.
Well, Lacey goes an inning plus 1 batter, giving up 3 runs on 3 hits with 1 strikeout and 1 walk. Now, Mike Norris left this game after 7 innings, and we're still not sure why. The Orioles have the tying run at the plate in the person of Gary Renicky. The Sensei has singled, and he is on first base. Now, Jones this year has a record of 1-2 and an ERA of 2.11. He has 4 saves to his credit in only 38 and a third innings out of Billy Martin's bullpen. He has walked 19 batters, but has 31 strikeouts to his credit. Jeff Jones coming on in relief for the Oakland A's in the bottom of the ninth inning. Let's take now a look at that scoreboard. As we told you, the Yankees come up with 3 unearned runs in the 7th inning to tie the California Angels at 5-5 at the end of 7. In Fenway Park in Boston tonight, the Mariners over the Red Sox 4-2. Bannister the winner. Tudor the loser in that game. Evans hit his 13th home run for Boston. It was Chicago over Toronto 3-0. White the winner, and Clancy the loser. Minnesota at Detroit. Detroit leads City 1-0 at the end of 8. Texas has a 6-1 lead over Milwaukee. Well, Jones has completed his warm-up tosses. Gary Renicky steps in, as does Chuck Thompson behind the line.
Well, Renicky is looking at the hard-throwing young right-hander, Jeff Jones, the youngster out of the state of Michigan. And we're ready to go. The Sensei leads first, nobody out. The pitch to Renicky, breaking ball too low, ball 1. Here's the charge. 24,000 plus fans in the ballpark tonight, 24,587. the right-hander Jones is ready to go. Here's the pitch to Renicky. He's got a strike inside corner of the letters, and Renicky barking at the plate umpire. Cousins walks away. Been a little bit of that tonight from both clubs. And then Ogilvy has just hit number... Well, I thought he had 32 coming in. Now the 1-1 offering on the way to Gary Renicky. Jones throws. Here's a swing and a foul ball coming right up into the booth, and Tom Barr made the play. All right, T-Bar. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Renicky, and in the on-deck circle, Len Sakata. The runner at first base to Sensei with nobody out. Jeff Jones in relief of Bob Lacey, who pitched an inning plus a man. 3 hits, a walk, a strikeout, 3 runs. And he's responsible also for Sensei at first base. Time right now. Effian backs away and says, let's start this thing again so there's no confusion. And here is Jones with a 1 ball, 2 strike pitch to Renicky. Struck him out. Boy, what a breaking ball Mr. Jones offered Renicky. A swing and a miss, and Renicky is gone. The new batter now will be John Lowenstein rather than Len Sakata. Lowenstein will bat for Sakata. Lowenstein on the year for the Orioles, a .299 hitter. And as Lowenstein is announced into the ballgame, there's a conference on the mound between Newman, the first baseman, pitcher Jeff Jones, and his catcher Jim Effian. And right now the plate umpire, Darrell Cousins, charges the mound to the let's go, man. You can't, Lowenstein. Against Jeff Jones. Lowenstein sat it out last night. He did not play in the first game of this series. Jones is ready to go. The right-hander throws. He's low with a ball 1. And the 1-0 to Lowenstein in the same place. Low, ball 2. Jones looks to be kind of quick. He had a pretty good year at Ogden last year, as a matter of fact. He won 13 and lost 7. 175 innings, struck out 126, so he's busted pretty good. Now the 2-0 pitch. Jones is ready. Lowenstein waits and takes, and it's a ball 3. I don't know where the pitch was, but Effian is asking Darrell Cousins again. This has been going on all night. Apparently the pitch was low. 3 balls, no strikes. Al Bumbry in the on-deck circle. 1 out, bottom of the ninth, 7-5, Oakland. The Sensei at first, and the 3-0 pitch to Lowenstein. There's a strike. 3-1 now to John, taking all the way. They're not holding at all with the Sensei. First base Newman is backed off almost to the rim of the outfield grass. In deference to the left-handed pull power of John Lowenstein. The 3-1 pitch. Inside low, ball 4. Lowenstein has walked. The Sensei to second base. To the plate, Al Bumbry on an 0 for 3 night. Bumbry has walked the last time up in the 8th inning, and Billy Martin is on his way to see Jones in the last half of the 9th inning. 1 out in the inning. Beard is the right-hander, Hamilton the left-hander in the Oakland bullpen, and Martin is now talking to his battery of Effian And I think he wants maybe to get Darrell Cousins out to the mound so he could maybe have a word or two with Cousins. Well, Cousins is now out there. And Martin ignores. He doesn't say a word. He's just now walking off the mound, saying a couple of very quiet things to Darrell Cousins. So Doug DeFense now has called for time and walked out to see the third base coach, Cal Ripken. Al Bunbury is the batter. Runners at first and second with one out. Dower in the on-deck circle behind Bunbury. Should he get the opportunity? Well, the Orioles, through 7 innings of this ball game, had but one base hit. Then Ayala's home run with 2 men aboard turned out to be the third hit. And here is Jones with his pitch to Bunbury. He's low and outside, ball 1. The 1-0 pitch. Jones to Al Bunbury. The right-hander sets, kicks and throws. Swings and a miss, a ball and a strike. Hamilton, the left-handed, Beard, the right-hander, in the Oakland bullpen. A ball and a strike to Bunbury. Jones delivers. Here's a ground ball hit to the right side of the second base. Right through his legs into center field. DeFense is home. On his way to third, Lowenstein. It's a 7-6 ball game. Second baseman Edwards had the play in front of him and blew it. He was too anxious for the double play. Will be another error, and that is the 5th error for Oakland tonight. 3 of the errors have been throwing errors. This was not a sharply hit ground ball. Edwards was there, but he had to pick it up before he could start the double play. That's what he could not do. He is charged with the error. It allows DeFense to score 7-6. 1 out. The tie run now is 90 feet away in the person of Lowenstein. Memorial Stadium is now a roaring, rocking ballpark. Lowenstein third, Bunbury at third, 1 out, bottom of the 9th, 7-6 Oakland. And here comes Dower. He doubled in the Oriole 8th inning. Jones throws, swinging a high fly ball deep left center field. It'll score Lowenstein. The catch by the center fielder Murphy. Here comes Lowenstein. The throw goes to second. A tie game. Just listen to this crowd. They've been sitting on their hands the greater part of the night in appreciation, finally, of the brilliance of Mike Norris. Well, all of that now has gone by the board. Errors all over that scoreboard. There are 7 errors in this ball game. And the Yankees and California are in a 5-5 tie in the bottom of the 8th inning. The Orioles in a 7-7 tie in the bottom of the 9th inning. 2 out. Bunbury at third. Singleton at the plate. Now time is empty and goes to the mound to talk to Jeff Jones. Well, this is a game where the Orioles demonstrated the well-known late foot. They had 2 runs in the 4th inning. Oakland led 3-2. Added another run to make it 4-2 in the 6th, 5-2 in the 7th, 6-2. And then the Orioles came on with 3. And now our side. The pitch to Singleton is low and inside, ball one. Singleton has been out on an infield grounder, hit a 2-run home run in the fourth, walked in the sixth inning, and then was called out on strikes in the eighth inning. Baltimore with 7 runs on 4 hits. Oakland, 7 runs on 10. Now the 1-0 to say. There goes Bumbry on the swing and a line drive down the right field corner. Fair ball. Bumbry is now on his way to third. He is going to score, and the Orioles have won it 8-7. Reminiscent of 1979. The Orioles got up off the deck, not once, not twice, 3 times tonight, and beat the Oakland A's with a come-from-behind 3-run bottom of the 9th inning. They beat it by a score of 8-7. We'll be back with a recap for you right after this message.
Quite a victory for the Orioles, who've been struggling as of late. Baltimore's now 80 wins and 53 losses, while the Oakland A's dropped to 66 and 70. But Oakland gave them quite a battle in this ball game, and now the Baltimore Orioles will be paying very close attention as to what happens up in New York, where the Yankees have a battle of their own against the California Angels. California leading that game at one time 5-2, but New York came up with 3 in the bottom of the 7th to tie that game at 5-5. Now I know that the Orioles network has indicated that it is going to switch to New York. They will. We will not. We will be rejoining normal programming here in another 3 or 4 minutes. We'll go back, however, for a wrap-up on this ball game in just a couple of moments. So, the big news, the Baltimore Orioles with a great comeback there, scoring 6 runs in the last 2 innings to pull this one out. New York in the California Angels tied in their ball game 5-5. So the Yankees giving the Orioles quite a battle. The Yankees are giving the California Angels quite a battle in that ball game. Oakland leading this game at one time 6-2, but then the Orioles came back with 3 runs in the bottom of the 8th. Oakland added 1 more in the top of the 9th to make it a 7-5 game, but then Baltimore with 3 more in the bottom of the 9th inning, and the Orioles have won it before a crowd of some 24,000 at Memorial Stadium. On Saturday, these 2 teams going at it one more time. It'll be Rick Langford against Jim Palmer on Saturday.
Orioles have given a crowd of 24,587 a 1979 type of a victory. It just looked like nothing the Orioles could do tonight would be right. Mike Norris was just Mike Norris. You don't win 18 games without a tremendous amount of talent. And tonight he just shut the Orioles down on 1 hit through 7 innings and then left the ball game. We have never heard whether or not he was injured, whether he ran out of gas, or what the reason was. But he did leave, and that opened the gates for the Orioles. His reliever, Bob Lacey, pitched 1 inning plus 1 man, gave up 3 base hits, walked a batter, struck out a batter, and 3 runs. And then came Jeff Jones. And after Oakland picked up a great big insurance run in the top of the 9th inning to go in front 7-5, it looked as though the Orioles were out of business for certain. But Doug DeCense lit the spark with a single to left field to start the 9th inning, and that brought Jones. He promptly struck out Renicky. Then Lowenstein batted. He drew a walk. Runners first and second, 1 out. Bumbry hit what looked like a double play ground ball to Edwards, the second baseman. He committed error number 5 of the evening for Oakland. It rolled through in the center field. DeCense scored. It was 7-6 with Bumbry at first base. Lowenstein at third. Dower was the batter. Fly ball deep to left center. It scored the tying run as Lowenstein came home, and Bumbry went around, stayed rather at first base, on the sac fly, and then it came down to Singleton, who ripped a line drive into the right field corner. It scored Bumbry all the way from first with the winning run. Here are the totals. The Orioles, 8 runs, 5 hits, 2 errors, 5 left. Oakland, 7 runs, 10 hits, 5 errors, 6 left. Winning pitcher, Tim Stoddard, 4 and 3. Losing pitcher, Jeff Jones, 1 and 3.